the collaborative document that we're going to be using. So I'll just paste the link in the chat. You can also find the link on the workshop website under collaborative document. So just quickly, yeah, so if we jump over to the workshop website, you'll see here under collaborative notes, you can also get the link to the document if you don't have it. Yeah, so this is like an interactive document, which means that so the way that you'll see it when you open it is like this. So it seems like, okay, you can just read it, but you're also able as a participant to edit it as well. So I can see, okay, one person has managed to click through. Okay, I got 2 people on the document. Let's give people a chance to click over there. So you'll notice at the top, there's these 3 icons, one that looks like a pen, one that is like a split window, and then the other one's like an eye. So eye is just for viewing the document, but what's very useful is if you click over to this both, which is the split view, you can see the code on the left and the document on the right. So if I make any changes here, so for example, under sign, I can just sign in quickly just to say that I was here. So Amy, I'm an instructor, let's say physics, and I'm in Stellenbosch. Cool. So yeah, please sign in here in the document. Just so we know that we're here. It's kind of like a register. Cool. I've got one person typing. Yeah, and if you're struggling if you're stuck anyway, just let us know. And don't be worried about typing over anyone. It's fine. Like, so when you start typing, someone else can just go to the next line. So was everyone able to get to the collaborative document? Maybe what we can do, actually, this is a good opportunity. In Zoom, you can give reactions. So I'll just, oh, do we have access to? Yes, reactions. Okay, so under reactions, you'll see like we can, do we not have the cross to the key layer? Do we not have access to like the yes, no thing in Zoom?
No, there's none here. I think probably they can thumbs up if they agreement with you or do something else.
Yeah, okay, but we don't have like the green tick. Okay, no worries. Okay, well then, okay, if you're stuck, you're just gonna have to let us know in the chat. Cool. Okay, great. So I've got a few people typing in the document. That's awesome. Yeah, so you'll see I've got like a rough schedule in this document. It's also just useful. I'll update it when we take a break so you know exactly when we're coming back. And then there's some important links, which we'll get to in a second. So I'll just give everyone another minute just to sign in quickly and get familiar with this document. I'll paste the link in the chat again if there's anyone who's just joined. Cool, okay. So I can see quite a few people are viewing the document, but I've only got 2 people who've done the sign-in. Is there something specific?
I think you need to register on the website. So,
can you say that again? Sorry.
Yeah, so I found it little bit difficult to register at the website. This is my first time
to
using it.
register.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't realize you had to register first. Okay, then I'll give people a chance. Okay, and someone else just said, okay, they're not at your PC, no problem, that's fine. Just remind me to send the link again if you need it. Okay, great. Then let's give people just another minute. Yeah, because it's really important that you can use this document because we're going to, when we do any exercises, we're going to use this document to collaborate. So you should at least be able to view it. Okay, and then if you're done with the sign in, you can jump ahead after you've done that to icebreaker and exercises. And we're just going to like put a plus next to the operating system that you're using. So this is just useful for me. And this is how you're going to give feedback on the exercises. But this is also useful for me to just know what operating system most people are using. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Got a few crosses there. Okay, there's 2 more people that I think haven't managed to register yet. I'll just give them a minute. Okay. Chandri, are you still not able to register, or is that sorted now? I guess not, because I don't see your name in the sign-in. Okay, sorted now. Okay, awesome. Then let's. Okay, cool. And I see two pluses on the icebreaker. Does anyone else just want to know quickly what operating system you're using? So that's under exercises and then icebreaker. Okay, awesome, great. I think we're all getting used to using this document, which is awesome. Okay, Chandri, I'll just give you a second to finish. And then if you scroll down right to the, well, not quite to the bottom, but there's a section called important links. So it's got the link to the data that we're going to use. So please download that in the meantime. So it's download data for day 1 here, so that link. And then there's also the instructions for installing the bash shell. So I will just help everyone with that. But if you feel comfortable already, you can sort of go ahead and start following those instructions. So when you click on the link, it should automatically jump to this window, and then it should be on the correct operating system. So I think most people are on Windows, which is great because I'm also on Windows. So it'll look, what I'm seeing hopefully will look like what most people are seeing. Yeah, so we're just going to follow these instructions. Let's see. Okay, great. I think everyone should be ready. Is there anyone who is not ready that would like me to wait 1 or 2 more minutes? Okay, I don't see anything. Yeah, please also feel free to unmute yourself if you want to just interrupt me. That's no problem. We can try to make it as interactive as possible. Okay, great. So let me take you through the installation quickly. So the first thing, I'm on Windows, so I'm going to jump through to the installer. Has anyone already installed? How can I just see a thumbs up if you kind of ready to go, just so I have a sense of whether I need to go through the installation. Okay, we've got 1 thumbs up. Okay, 2 thumbs up. 3 thumbs up. Okay, let's. Okay, so there's some people following on their phone. Okay, no problem. Okay, so I think I can go very quickly through the installation because it looks like a few people have been able to install this. So you would, if you're on Windows like me, you would download the Git installer from this website. So you would download it. So I've already downloaded it. And when you run it, you're going to keep basically all of the default settings. The only thing that you just want to choose if you're on Windows is you want to choose the default editor to be Nano. And if you don't do that by accident, it's also not a problem. We can fix that. But for example, for me on Windows, I actually didn't use the Windows default console window. I'd use the Minty, the default one, which I just found a lot nicer to use. So there's 1 person who is on Mac. Are you okay? Do you have everything installed? Okay, Sealand, perfect. Great. Okay, then I think that seems like we're good to go. Is there anyone who wants me to wait while they install, or anyone who's stuck on the installation? And please don't hesitate to say that, because we have a whole another 10 minutes to spend on this if you need. Right.
Yes, please. If you can wait.
Yeah, sure.
5 minutes. Yeah.
Well, have you managed, how far are you so far?
Yeah. So I pressed the installer, and I'm waiting
Okay.
for. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, no problem. Then will you let me know when you sort it?
Yeah. Sure. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me, in the meantime, I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to open up. Wait, actually, let me just show quickly for the new people. Just share my screen again. Okay, so I actually have yes, I want to exit the setup. So I have Git actually as a shortcut on my taskbar here. But if you've newly installed it on Windows, I think it should come up here under the recently added. Otherwise, you can also just search for it here. So we want to just click on this Git bash app. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share just the console so that I can zoom in. Found it here. Right. Okay, so everyone, when we're ready to go, everyone should have their some screen like this. Okay, it'll look slightly different on iOS, but most people on Windows, so most people should have something, should be able to see something like this. Is the font size big enough? If I type some commands here, is that clearly readable?
It's okay.
Okay, perfect, because I can make it bigger if you need, just saying. Okay, yeah, and I know some people are, not at their computers at the moment, but if you are at your computer, I would really strongly advise you do code along, because that's going to be the best way actually to learn it. You're really going to learn a lot more if you type the commands yourself and see how things work on your operating system. And what else did I want to say? Okay, we'll just wait for everyone. Okay, can I just see maybe some thumbs ups if we're ready to go? How do I see everyone at the same time? I can see one.
Amy, there's a question for you.
There's a question. Okay.
Yes. So they're asking Carpentries.github.io website, a South African initiative.
So the Carpentries is not South African. It's an international organization. I'm not actually 100% sure whether it was founded in the US or the UK, but maybe if you're referring to the github.io, maybe were you referring to the website for the actual workshop? This one. Let me just do this. Were you referring to this website?
Hi, Amy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi.
Okay, good. Much easier to communicate with the voice.
Yes, exactly.
I am talking about the carpentries.github.io workshop that we installed the bash shell from.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, well, let me just, I've lost where am I? Yeah, okay, so this is the website I think you're referring to. This install instructions.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so you're not actually installing it from this website. So when you click through to the installer, if you're on Windows, you're actually going to the Git for Windows site. So you're not actually installing it directly through the Carpentries. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that was an obvious but necessary
No,
difference.
there's
Thank you.
no, I'm sure at least one other person was thinking that. So no, thank you for your question. Yeah, I remember when I first started using Git, because I was using GitHub, I, just Googled around, like, what do you do if you have Windows? And yeah, this is the sort of official tool, or not official, but the most widely used tool for using Git on Windows. So it is a very well-known, like, reputable tool. I probably should have mentioned that beforehand, so you don't think you're installing some strange software. Yeah. Okay. So I think.
And so the Carpentry's website, is the Carpentry's website South African?
No. So the Carpentry's website, let me just find, it's carpentry.org. I will, no,
I'm
sorry.
still talking about the carpentries.github.io.
Oh, that one. No,
This one that you've sent in the chat.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it's South African specifically. What makes you think that it might be? Or what?
I'm just interested in South African programmers.
Okay,
And
well,
so,
yeah, I mean, if you're interested, there is like quite a big, like, I think, African community of people involved in the carpentries. Angelique Tussler, I think I'm pronouncing her surname correctly, is very involved in that. So yeah, if you're interested in getting more involved, we can maybe during the break we can quickly chat, and I can share some links with you. But the carpentries community is international. There's like many people from all over the world that are involved in the carpentries, but there is also a lively African and South African group.
okay, thank you so much. Thank you very much for your time.
Cool. No, pleasure. Okay, so I think we're probably ready. Is anyone still want me to give them 1 or 2 minutes? So everyone should have an open terminal now that looks something, but not exactly like what I'm sharing.
I'm facing problem with the nano thing. So if I can show you.
Yeah, let me stop sharing, and then you should be able to share your screen. Oh yes, I can see it. Okay, great.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I scrolled down and I didn't find.
I think it might be at the top. Just scroll. Yeah, it's the first one at the top.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
I didn't.
Okay. No, and I also actually, when I was looking through this yesterday, I also had that.
Let's get decide that.
Yeah, like it is. I think from here on, you can actually just accept all the default options. Yeah. SSH, yeah, that's all. Minty, perfect. Yep. Enable, yep. Okay, awesome. Great. Well, do you want to just keep sharing this, then I can see when you're done. We can all watch the bar grow. Chat, see if anyone else is stuck. Okay, there is something in the. Okay, Prudence, I see you put a chat in the Q&A. Okay, how did you get to this point? So I will just share the link again to the installation instructions. And then you can let me know. It's also in the collaborative document, but I'll just share it in the chat as well. Okay, so Prudence, are you just getting started with the installation? Yes, okay, cool. Prudence, we can wait for you. No man left behind. And just let me know if you get stuck anywhere. Okay, last 10% here. Very cool. And yeah, when you click finish, it should automatically open up the terminal for you. Yeah, the viewing the release notes is not like, you can glance at that if you're interested, but it's just really technical information. You don't need to worry too much about that. Okay, awesome, great. Prudence, do you want to just give a quick update where you are? I have like way too many windows. Chat. Okay, downloading, great. Window here. Okay, cool. So I really want to take our time with this and just make sure that everyone has got their terminal open, because if you don't have your terminal open, then the rest of the day is going to be not so fun for you. So let's really just take our time and make sure everyone is happy and set up. So yeah, Prudence is doing her thing. Is there anyone else who needs some help? No, that's great. Okay, so while we're waiting, I can also just tell you, like, motivate a little bit why it's useful to learn to use the command, the shell, or also sometimes people call it the terminal. So it's a way to interact with a computer, but not using a graphical user interface. So normally we used to kind of using things like the file explorer if we want to copy and paste files. But this is a way to do this directly through code. And the reason why it's useful, you might just say, oh, well, I know how to use the GUI, the graphical user interface. Why would I want to learn this? And the reason is it means that you can automate a lot of tasks. So let's say you had like thousands of files that you accidentally misspelled the name, like you made some error, and now you've got a bunch of files where something is spelled, the name is spelled incorrectly, or you want to format them or copy them somewhere, but to different locations. It's going to be much more efficient to do this using the shell than doing it by hand. And another big thing, I think, which I've also noticed in my own research, is that using the shell, you can avoid like human error. So if you do make a mistake, you have a record of exactly what you did. So you can go back and check what you did and see, oh, okay, I made a mistake. Or it completely avoids human error to start with, because when you're clicking and copying and pasting thousands of items, you can easily make a mistake. but the computer is not gonna make those kind of mistakes. So sort of the main like key factors that make it useful is, you know, reproducibility, like avoiding human error, and it's going to be much faster to automate certain things. And like the other big one is if you ever need to use some sort of high performance computing platform for your research, or you want to use like cloud compute, like I'm not sure if people here maybe have heard of like Amazon Web Services. So that would allow you to set up a computer in the cloud and use it. And all of those tasks are really going to rely on being able to use the shell. And like just a little bit of knowledge, like I think what you're going to learn today is really going to just give you just that enough information that you know enough to be able to Google and look around and see for solutions to your own problems. I think I'm really hoping this is going to be really useful to some people. And also sometimes the commands that are used in a shell also crop up in other scripts. So things like Python and R scripts, you might see common things like CD, which means change directory, pop up inside of those scripts. So it's very useful just to know some basic shell commands so that when you're reading something like that, you don't think, oh, like, what on earth is CD mean? You have some background knowledge. Okay, so one other thing is downloading the data. Yeah, yes.
Just to confirm, so from here, how to reach the screen you are sharing?
Yes. Do you want me to? Are you on Windows?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Then let me share my whole screen. Are you sharing your screen now?
So yes.
Okay, can you share it again?
So this is the screen that I'm seeing it.
Okay, if you go to, I think this might be in the wrong place. So if you just search in your, like from the toolbar for git bash in your programs, does it come up with anything called git bash?
Yes. Yeah, now, yeah, git bash.
You got it?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm not actually sure what that is. Is that something that looks like something related to R?
Git GUI.
Oh, okay, the GUI. Okay, I'm not sure what that is, but okay. You don't have to know everything. Okay, cool. So you've got the terminal.
the same screen. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Let me share mine again. Okay, and I think I lost the chat. Okay, Prudence, all good to go. Okay, awesome. Is there anyone else who still needs a few more minutes, or are we all ready to go? And also, if there's any other questions, if anyone has a question before we carry on, or a thought, or something they want to share. Just hey, looks like we are all good to go. Okay, great. Yeah, so we're not going to, as I mentioned, we're not going to be using a graphical user interface. We're going to be actually typing commands into this window. And this dollar sign here is called the prompt. So this indicates that the computer is kind of ready to receive some sort of command. So you don't need to actually type this dollar, but when you see this dollar, you know, okay, I can type my command in here. And you'll also see some information at the top here if you're on the same one as me. Like mine says Amy at desktop, but yours will say something different depending on your computer. So the first thing we're going to do is use the ls command. Okay, so we type ls, let me zoom out a tiny bit, because that's maybe a little bit big. Okay, so ls is the list command, and it's going to list everything that's in the current directory. So depending on what's in your computer, you're going to see like a gigantic list like this of different things. Okay, so that's our first command, which we're going to be using a lot. And what happens if we type like a nonsense command that the computer doesn't know? So say ks, if we run that, we'll get this message. Sorry, I'm going to just zoom a bit more again. We'll get this command not found. So there's all kinds of words that the computer is not going to understand, like breakfast, things like that. So if you type an invalid command, it will tell you that the command is not found. So if everyone should have hopefully downloaded the data. So I have unzipped the file and placed it on my desktop. So I think let's all do that. If we can all work from the desktop, I think it's a bit easier. If you do want to work from another folder, if you usually work from like my documents or something, that's also okay. But I think just for consistency, let's all work from the desktop. So let me just share. Can I just share my whole screen quickly? Should be showing my whole screen. Okay, so here I have this folder which I've unzipped. It's called shell lesson data, and inside of that we have exercise data and North Pacific Gaia data. So how this is a sort of like practice data set in this North Pacific Gaia. So the sort of story, I can just read you the little blurb about this data. So Nellie Nemo is a marine biologist just returned from a 6-month survey of the North Pacific Gaia, where she has been sampling gelatinous marine life in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. She has 1,520 samples that she's run through an assay machine to measure the relative abundance of 300 proteins. She needs to run these 1,520 files through an imaginary program called goostats.sh. In addition to this huge task, she has to write up the results by the end of the month so her paper can appear in the special edition of Atlantic Goo Letters. So this is the sort of made up situation that we're going to be working in. So we're going to pretend that we're Nelly, we have this huge data set, and like we're going to see how we can efficiently work with this data set. So everyone hopefully has their data on the desktop. Let me quickly just jump to it.
Hello, Amy.
Yes, hi.
I don't have the data now.
You don't have the data. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
I will share the link for you. It's a small data set, so it should be very quick to download. Let me just find the collaborative document. Let me also change what I'm sharing so that you guys are not seeing everything. Here's the data. Yeah, so for anyone else who doesn't have the data, yeah, and then the link is also in the collaborative document, which you'll be able to come back to anytime. So yeah, if you ever want to download this again. So yeah, clicking that link should just automatically download the data. Okay, so I'm just going to type this ls command again. So you can see, look, we've got a whole lot of things that are on my computer. We've got documents, downloads, favorites, we've got app data, we've got all these different things. But what we want to work with is the actual data now that's on the desktop. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to learn how to navigate around the directories and the files and the folders in our PC. Okay, so does anyone not have the data? On the desktop, sorry, I should say, on the desktop unzipped. Yeah, so just to be explicit, to like unzip it, you would just right click on it. Like right click on the zip file and then just say extract all. And that should extract all the directories and the files. Okay, I don't see anyone that's stuck, so that's great. I'm gonna assume everyone has it, but if you don't, please don't hesitate to interrupt. Okay, so the file system on the computer is what organizes all the files and keeps track of like where they are. So we can use the command pwd, which is short for print working directory, and that's going to show us where we are currently in the file system of the computer, where we're working at the moment. So if I print that, you'll see it says C uses Amy. So that's my, what we call home directory actually. So you will see something similar. I mean, obviously, depending on what operating system you are, but that is going to show you where you currently are on the computer. So if we were Nelly, it would say C uses Nelly, for example. So I'll just quickly show you like a little schematic. There we are. So I'm just going to paste this. I just jump over, so I'm going to just jump over to the collaborative document. So under exercises, under icebreaker, I'm just going to paste an image that we can look at together. So you can see here like just a schematic of the sort of structure. So in the current directory that we're in, which is the home directory, which is like this shown here by this top folder, we're going to have it's going to contain a bunch of subfolders. So that's what we're seeing when we printed ls. Okay. And then of course we can have like a whole complicated structure, like many subfolders, subdirectories, like you can see in this image. So if we go to the users folder, we'll see these items. Okay, cool. So if we want to actually see that information now from the terminal, because we're all kind of probably familiar with this idea from using the file explorer, how do we actually see this in the terminal? So the command we're going to use is ls again, so list, but ls has many options that we can give. So if we give the F option, capital F, so we type ls and then ls space -f, and we push enter to run it, you won't see any difference on my side, and it might not show any difference on your side, but this -f command will explicitly say whether the thing is like an application or a folder. So you can see for me, folders are shown in this like light purple color, and actual files are like white, and I think these I think star is for executable programs. So you kind of get a bit more information about what's in your folder, which is useful. And we can see what all the different options are for ls, and this is true for all other commands. If we type the name of the command and then the option ~help, and we push enter, we'll get a lot of information about all the different options. Okay, I'm a bit zoomed in here, so let me just zoom out a bit. Yeah, that's a bit better. Let me just type it again. Okay, yeah, so we're going to get a list of options here of different things that we can do. So if we scroll up, we should see this capital F here. So we see capital F option, and then it gives a little explanation of what that is going to do. So it's going to append an indicator to the entries to show like what they are. So you can see there's tons of different options. So -A will show all, for example. Yeah, so we're gonna see a lot of these different options. Just zoom in a little bit again. Let me just double check the chat. Everyone is good. Okay, cool. Okay, and the bash shell also has something called the manual, which is MAN, and then you would type the name of the command. So in this case, ls for list. But unfortunately, on Windows, this does not exist. But if you're on Linux, and I believe iOS, you can access the manual, and then you'll also get some extra information. But usually, I must say, I haven't missed having the manual. It's normally very useful just to be able to call up the help option to get some more information. Okay, and then if we try to use an option that actually is not available, so like ls-j, for example, it's going to give us this error that looks like this. So it's going to say unknown option, you know, try help for more information. So you don't have to be afraid of making, you know, typing errors, things like that. And then let's see. Okay, we're not going to talk about the manual. Okay, so let's do a quick exercise. So I'm going to paste the exercise into the collaborative document. You should see it in a moment. Okay, so the exercise is, can you also use two options at the same time? What does the command ls do when used with -l option? What about if you use both -l and the h option? So I'm going to give you a chance to test that out on your side, and we can see how that goes. Okay, could I please repeat the command? Okay, so the commands that I've used so far are ls for list. Actually, I can actually just put them in the chat. Maybe I should put them. Why don't I put them in the collaborative document? That's probably actually the best. Let's make a little cheat sheet here. So, and like, please, yeah, if you want to add something to this list, you can feel free to do that. So far we've seen ls, which is list. We've seen pwd for print working directory, and we've seen the help option. Help. Oops. And let me type it like this: command, and then okay. On the chat again. Yeah. Cool.
Hi, Amy. Did you see Prudence's question?
Yes, to please repeat the command. I think
okay.
Hopefully that took care of it. Prudence, did I get the command that you were looking for? Okay, you can't seem to find the document. Oh, the collaborative document. No problem. I will share that again. That's important because otherwise you wouldn't see the exercises that I'm sharing. Yeah, so does anyone want to comment on exercise 1 and what they found?
Yes, when I the first -1, I think.
Minus L, yes.
Minus L.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do you want to share your screen, or do you want to
yeah,
just tell us? Okay, cool. Then let me
huge,
stop sharing. That's awesome.
huge list of.
Okay, great, awesome.
Mhm. So this is LS L and LS H.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but
Nice. So did you notice what the difference is? Because these look quite similar, right? I
yeah,
mean,
that's why.
did you manage to notice what the difference is?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Okay, it's actually quite sneaky. So the first thing is that it prints it kind of nicely, so things don't go on to the next line, which is kind of nice. So you can see like this, what you're showing now is not as nice to look at as the second part. But also -H is actually short for human readable. And what it does is it takes also the size of the files and makes it a bit more human readable. So if you see here, for example, you have a file, which is like 18 megabytes or 18 M. Whereas if you scroll up and you look at the same file, it's going to have like a big number, you know, something that you'd have to think about. Okay, how many like decimals after the comma is this? Yeah, you can see that's 18,087,936. It's a lot more information. Yeah. So -L gives us like this sort of table of information about our files, and then -H is going to give human readable. And what's also nice about using multiple options is you don't necessarily need to separate them by a dash. So maybe you want to actually try it on your side. So if you type ls and then -LH. Okay, so we have to have a dash because we have to, so the dash indicates that it's an option. So the dash is like the horizontal line. No, yeah, just before the L. We have to have it just before the L. So we have to like, we have the command, and then we say, okay, we're going to give these options. So yeah, -L, and then just H immediately after that.
Without space?
Without a space, yeah.
Mm.
Cool. So that also works. So it's fine. I mean, to be honest, I forget normally the shortcut and I just use -L-H. But if you want to be really professional and type as little as possible, you also don't actually need to. So you can, you know, when you see under the help function all the possible options, you can kind of chain all those options together. Okay, awesome. Does anyone else have a question? I'm sure someone must have a question. Okay, yes, it's break time. Thank you. Okay, so let's just take a 7-minute break, I think, if that's all right. So let's come back at 10 o'clock. No, sorry, at 10 past 10. Sorry. That cool with everyone? Take a quick coffee break. See you at 10 past 10. Thanks so much.
Before you go, I'm lost on the exercise now.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah,
Do you want?
please.
Yes, sure. Do you want to share your screen so I can see what you're seeing? If you can. If you can't, I can also share. Okay, yeah, awesome.
So now on part of the exercise, yeah, I was lost.
Okay. So what was the command that you used to get this cool printout up here? So this was?
It was LS dash L.
L, cool. Okay, and that's different from just LS, right? Because it's giving
Yeah.
us a lot more information. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what was the instruction? Like, did you tell us to open the files on the exercise? Or what?
No. So the exercise was just to see if it's possible to use more than one option at once. So, you know, when I showed you the help screen, you know, there's like a ton of options. So we just demonstrating here that it's possible to use more than one option at the same time. So this dash L option is like, I don't know, L must be short for like list. I have to look quickly in the documentation, but we can chain together the L and the H, which stands for human readable, together. And then we get a slightly different output. So if you use ls and then dash L and then space dash H, you'll see something like slightly different to this.
Oh, okay.
You want to try it?
LS.
And then dash L.
Then space.
And then dash H.
Dash H.
Okay, so it's like we're chaining together two options here. And now, so you can see it's a little bit like neater. And then we also have this situation where this column here that's got like 0, 0, 34, 0, 62, those are the file sizes. So that's written in a bit more of like a human readable way. So, you know, your 9.3 megabyte file is got like the M next to it instead of all the numbers.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yeah, all right, thanks.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, let's take a quick break. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I can give you guys just one more minute quickly while I copy over the next two exercises. Let's see here. Yeah, let's do this one quickly. Let me share my screen. Cool. Okay, is everyone ready to go? Can you just give a thumbs up if you're good to go? Great. We have a sip of coffee. Okay, so the next exercise we're going to look at is this one, exercise 2. I've just pasted in the collaborative document, so you should be able to see it. So it reads, by default, ls lists the contents of a directory in alphabetical order by name. The command ls-t lists items by time of last change instead of alphabetically. The command ls-r lists the contents of a directory in reverse order. Which file is displayed last when you combine the T and R options? So let me do that. Actually, I can demo that on my side. So let's do ls-t-r. I'm also going to use the L option so I can get this whole table of data. Cool. Let me zoom a little bit because a bit blah, a lot. Okay, cool. So you should be able to see on my side, I've got files from the 24th of April, 2021, all the way through to the 5th of May, 8 p.m. So 8 p.m. last night. So let's see what difference it makes if I remove this -r command. Oh, and I should also mention quickly, the way that I'm getting back to the command that I used last is just using the up arrow on the keyboard. So you can use the up and down arrows to navigate through commands that you typed previously. So I can just go up arrow here, and then I can use the left and right arrows to just navigate, and I'm going to delete the R just to quickly compare. So yeah, so you can see here how now it's showing the 5th of May item that I edited last night on the top instead of on the bottom. So chaining together the T for time and the R for reverse, we can like reverse the order of how things are listed. If I remove the L command, just out of interest, let's see how that looks. Okay, so this is also sorting by time, but we can't tell anymore if it really is sorted by time or not, because that information is not displayed. We have to add the -L option to also show that information. Did I see something in the chat? No, I think everyone is good. Okay, so let's explore other directories now. So we've been working with ls, and it's just been listing everything that's in our home directory. So then we just type, if I type pwd, again, to print my working directory, it's printing C user Amy. So when I type ls, it's showing me everything that is in that directory on my computer. But what if I want to see things in other directories? Okay, so we can do that by saying ls, and then let's say desktop. So let's show what's on my desktop. Cool, so this is what is on my desktop. I have these folders here, which are in purple, purplish blue. And one of those items you'll notice is the shell lesson data that we're going to be working with. So if you don't see that shell lesson data, then you just need to quickly move your data there, unless you're happy to work from a different directory, but I'm going to be working from the desktop. Okay, and then we can also look what's in that folder. So if I type ls desktop, and then slash, so the slash separates the folders. So inside desktop, inside shell. Now I'm going to use the tab key, which is going to autocomplete for me just to save time. So you can also do that. You can also start typing and then you can use the tab key and it should autocomplete for you. So that just helps with spelling mistakes. I mean, you can see if I try to type this, I'm definitely going to make at least one, maybe not, but usually I would make at least one mistake. Okay, so we're going to type ls desktop/cell-lesson-data. Okay, cool. So now we see what's inside of that folder. Okay, well, it so happens that through my unzipping process, I ended up with a folder with the same name on the inside of that folder. So I'm also going to list what's inside that because that's a bit boring. We want to actually see what's really inside this data. Okay, so if I do that, I can see, okay, I have a exercise data subdirectory and a North Pacific Gaia subdirectory, which matches what we've seen if we just look through the graphical user interface. If we just look through File Explorer, we also saw those two folders. So does everyone have that? Is everyone able to see that?
I can type the commands, but there is no time on them.
There is no
times.
No times.
Yeah, so I tried writing ls r and ls t, but let me share my screen.
Oh, do you want to yeah, just share your screen? Oops.
Yeah. So ls
-t, yeah. Okay, so that's a good question. So why do we not see the times? Okay, and the reason that we don't see the times is because we didn't also use the -l. Because remember, the -l option is the option that gives us all that like extra information about the size and the times. So it is sorting it by time, but it's just not telling you explicitly the time. So there you go. Nice. Do you see? Yeah, it's reversed. Should be reversed now. Okay,
yeah,
great,
yeah.
awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your question. Okay, let me just find the chart. Or share my terminal. And let me also just check where we are for time. Okay, so we've got until 11 for this. Okay, great. Okay, so now we've seen that we've got these folders through doing ls and then type. So instead of an option, we've just given explicitly the name of a directory. So it's like if I just type ls with nothing or with options, say time, I'm not specifying, I'm like saying to the terminal, just use the current directory. Just list to me what's in the current directory. But if you also, after your options, specify a specific folder, then it will list that folder, the contents of that folder. So that's this command, so ls-t desktop versus just ls-t. You can see we get very different results because this command is printing everything that's in the current directory, while the ls-t desktop is telling us everything that's on the desktop. So now we can actually change, just keep the chart up, yeah, okay. So now we can actually change to that directory. So we can move from our home directory. So let me put bwd. So I'm going to move from C users Amy to the desktop. And the command that we use for that is cd, which is short for change directory. So cd desktop. And again, I'm using the tabs, but you don't have to. So if I push enter now, and you can see, which is actually a very nice thing in this terminal, it actually shows you in yellow here where I am. So if I type pwd, I can see, so now I used to be in C users Amy, now I'm in C users Amy desktop. So I've actually moved to the desktop. So my current working directory is now users Amy desktop. And if I now type the ls command without desktop, I get the information about what's on the desktop again. Great. So now let's also change. Where are we now? Okay, let me also just demonstrate something. So if you just type cd on its own, that takes you back to your home directory, which for me is users Amy, but for you might be something different. And if I try to change directory to shell-lesson-data, which is a folder on my desktop. So let me try and do that. Shell-lesson-data. And I try to just do that. So that's the folder that I want to go to. It's not going to allow that. It's going to give me an error. And the reason for that is that you need to specify the path relative to where you are. So if I'm just looking in the collaborative document, you see we have this tree structure here. Let me actually share that page. Let me just share this with you. Okay, so I was in this top directory here with the backslash, which is the home directory, and I want to go to a subdirectory called desktop, but a subdirectory of that called shell lesson data. So shell lesson data sits somewhere over here. Say, okay, no, that's not the right name, but you can see how I need to go through the tree at this point. So I can't just say, hey, just go straight there. I have to actually give the computer the information about the path that I need to take to get there, which is why if I want to, from my home directory, if I want to change to shell lesson data, which is a folder on my desktop, I need to specify that. So I need to say, okay, desktop, and then shell lesson data. And that is going to work. Oops, sorry, I forgot that I'm not sharing that. Switch over. Yeah, okay, so you can see the sort of history of what I've done here. So I had to say cd desktop desktop shell lesson data. I cannot go straight from my home directory to the subdirectory. I have to specify the path. So if that is not clear, then just let me know and I'll see if I can explain it a different way. Okay, so let's list. Okay, also because I have this situation where I'm like in this, you can see I have this other subfolder shell lesson data. I'm also just going to change to that. So I'm going to say shell lesson data. So now here in this situation, I can just say shell lesson data immediately because I'm currently in the shell lesson data folder. So the cd command knows, okay, it knows about the folders that are inside the folder that I'm in at the moment, if that makes sense. So I can do that command. And now you can see if I type ls, I can see my exercise data and my North Pacific Gaia. Okay. And another useful trick with the change directory command is going up one level. So you saw, I'll just repeat, if I just say cd with no command, like no text, I'll be taken automatically to my home directory. So if I type pwd, see I'm in the home directory. So let me go back to where I want to be. So desktop, shell again. Okay, pwd, I'm in users Amy desktop. If I want to go not to my home directory, but I just want to go one level up. I want to go from the shell lesson data folder to the one higher directory, which in my case is also called shell lesson data. I can use the command cd and then double dot. So if I push enter there, you'll see it's taken me, if we compare the yellow text, I've gone one folder up. So I can do that again, CD, double dot, and that's going to take me to the desktop. So if I type ls, you can see now my current directory, I have access to all these folders here. So that's a super useful trick, which we'll use later on. Okay, so let me go back, CD. I want to go into my shell lesson data, and also again inside of that shell lesson data. So if your folder on your desktop is such that you do not have this nested of shell lesson data, don't worry, that's fine. Just you don't need to type this twice. You only need to type it once. It just so happens that I have this like nested thing, which I'll actually fix because it's a bit annoying. Okay, it says no such file called desktop. Okay, do you want to share? And then we can have a look what's going on there, because I'm sure someone else is also running into that issue. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so if I just look at because just higher up, you just printed ls, right? So this is everything in your current, yeah. So actually you do not have a desktop folder in your home directory. That's interesting. Okay, that's fine. So what we can do is you just need to go, okay, so let me actually, I'll share my screen and I can just demo what I mean. So let's just share the screen. Oh, Dimakatsu, do you want to?
Hi, Amy. Isn't it supposed to say CD desktop instead of LS desktop?
Yes, but ls desktop should also work if the folder exists. So if ls desktop doesn't work, CD desktop is definitely not going to work either. So we definitely have a bit of a problem. Okay, so but thank you. So if you go to just your file explorer, this is kind of a cheat if you're getting a bit stuck. Go to your GUI that you're used to using, and if you go to the folder that you're trying to find, you'll see that in this bar, at least, sorry, and I'm talking specifically for Windows now, so apologies for people not on Windows, but if you actually click up here, you'll get like a story which matches the thing that you would use in the terminal. So here you can see it C uses Amy desktop shell. So if you just navigate to your desktop and you look at this, what's the file path that it shows? Yeah, so this is actually very, very useful. If you're getting stuck and you don't you're trying to find a folder, you don't know, the sort of cheap way to do it is just to go to the GUI and then see, okay, it's users Amy desktop, and then you can find it like that. So Windows normally hides that information, but if you click in the bar, it will display it for you.
Yeah, it's still in the desktop.
Yeah, so do you have like C users and then whatever your name for your computer is and then desktop?
Let me show you again. Yeah. So here is the
Okay, so is this your desktop?
Yeah.
Oh, is this your desktop?
So
okay,
here shows that.
Okay, and if you just click in this bar at the top, like just somewhere, like anywhere inside the bar, like on a blank area, does it give you, you see, okay, so this is interesting. Okay, so this is the whole story. Okay, so your thing is so this is where we need to navigate. So we have to go into OneDrive, we have to go into desktop, we have to go into scholarship and so on.
Interesting.
Yeah. So this is useful to know.
Good. So, because I'm in these 8, so I'll type. I should type OneDrive.
Yes, so yeah, if we go back to your terminal, we should see OneDrive as one of the folders listed there. Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sure it will be. If it's not, then we're really stuck.
Yeah. It's fine.
You see it there? Okay, so then, so this is cool. This is good practice. So you can CD to OneDrive, and then you can do ls, and you can look, okay, what is all in my OneDrive? And that's probably going to be a lot.
Yeah, no. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so you just need to navigate through that whole tree, either in one go or in steps to get to your shell folder.
Yeah. So CD OneDrive. Now I'm in
Now
OneDrive.
you're in the
Right?
OneDrive?
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm not sure what the next step was. I think there's desktop. Yeah, there it is. Cool. Okay, so now this is correctly listing everything on your desktop.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Okay, so let's just quickly let me also share my terminal. Share the terminal. Okay, cool. Let's see where we are. Okay, so let's just, so we all should be inside the shell lesson data folder, which is hopefully on the desktop. And if we type ls, we should see these two folders. So you should see the same thing that I see here. And let me just get the chat up again. Okay, cool. So the other nice option we can use for ls, which is going to give us more information that we would normally see in the GUI. So this is sort of a hacker mode now. If we give the option A, which is short for all, it's going to list 2 additional folders here, which is the .l and the .l. So this list now, it's like a complete list of everything that we have direct, let's say a direct path to from our current working directory. So the ., if you remember, was the shortcut for going up one directory. So it's just explicitly listing it there. So if you ever forget, what was the shortcut again to go up one directory? If you do list all, ls-a, you can see, oh, okay, . And / is short for current directory. So blank is kind of a short for current directory, but / is also short for current directory. So if I say excuse me, you'll see the 2 folders again. So I can also do ls-a .. So I actually use this, I must say, in my general practice with using like directories. I normally, even though it's not necessary, I normally always explicitly actually type that thing. And it just makes it clear, I think, I mean, at least in my experience, I mean, this is now my personal input on this, is it just makes it explicit. It just reminds you, okay, from where I currently am in the tree, go to exercise data. Or, for example, go to the directory, list what's in the directory above. So it just makes it explicit what we're doing. But we could say ls exercise data. We don't actually need to explicitly specify this .. but it can just be nice to know explicitly I'm working in the current directory. Okay, and saying ls-a is giving us access also to hidden files. So if there were any hidden files in this folder that Windows wouldn't normally show you, using ls-a is going to show you all of those hidden files, which is also useful sometimes. Okay, let's see now. Okay, so let's jump into the exercise data folder. Okay, so CD, and then I'm going to use the shortcut for current thing, and then I'm going to go to exercise data using the tab. Okay, so I'm now, you can see by this yellow text here, I'm in the desktop, I'm in shell list data, I'm in shell list data again, and then I'm in exercise data. So if I do ls again, I'm going to see, oh, cool. Okay, I've got alkalis, I've got animal counts, I've got creatures, I've got numbers, and I've got writing. So those are all the files that I have that are in this directory. Okay. Let's also see other shortcuts. Okay, the other shortcut, so I mentioned the dot backslash is shorthand for current directory. The tilde backslash is, or forward slash rather, is short for home directory. So you can actually see it explicitly here in this yellow text. So I have tilde backslash desktop. So that's short for home directory, which is very nice actually to use because it makes your code reproducible on other people's computers. So if, you know, my home directory is not going to be the same as your home directory, but I can share a script with you or some code with you that uses this backslash tilde, which should hopefully work on your system because it just replaces your specific home directory with the correct thing that matches your folder structure. So that can be very useful. Okay, cool. So let's do a quick exercise. Get you guys interacting. Okay, so let's see, exercise 3. Okay, so starting from Nelly, so now we're imagining we're on Nelly's computer. So she's using Nelly/data. So starting from uses Nelly data, which of the following commands would Nelly use to navigate to her home directory, which is uses Nelly? So you can put a plus next to the ones you think will work. And if there's ones that you think definitely won't work, you can also use a minus to say, no, that's not going to work. Cool, we've got some pluses here. Okay, awesome. I'm super stoked people participated. Okay, so let's just look. So let's do number 8 first, because that got the most votes. So that is indeed correct. So if we just type a naked CD, we will be taken automatically to the home directory. So that is correct. So well done. Okay, so number 9, which also got a vote, is also correct, because in this case, Nelly's home directory is indeed one level up from the current directory that she's in. So that is true, but that's only going to work in situations where we're in a folder which happens to be one level deeper than the home directory. So there's just a caveat on that one, but well done. Okay, then let's look at number 5. So yes, number 5 is also correct. Well done, because tilde stands for the home directory. So that's also nice. We can just explicitly specify the tilde. Let's see. Number 7 was also correct, but it's a bit overcomplicated, right? Because it's a bit complicated to navigate to the home directory, then go into the data folder, and then go one level up. It's a little bit redundant. So even though 7 would actually work, so I'll put a plus next to it for myself. It works, but it's overly complicated. Okay, and let's check. So cd dot, in this case, is not actually going to work because dot is short for the current directory that we're in. So by saying cd dot, we actually won't move anywhere. We'll just stay in the data folder. So I hope that makes sense. Cool. Okay. Whoops. Sorry, open up the windows here. Okay, great. Are there any questions about that exercise? While you're thinking about your questions, I'm just going to paste 2 more exercises here. Let's just do one at a time. So let's do this one. Cool. Okay, let me see. Okay, I don't see any questions, but if you have any, please, even if it's related to something that was said a while ago, don't hesitate to ask. Because there's definitely, if you have a question, definitely there's someone else thinking the same question who's too shy. So do it for them. Okay, so next exercise. Using the file system diagram below, if PWD displays user-thing, /thing, what will ls-f ..backup display? And then you can again put a plus next to the one that you think is the correct one. So what do you guys think would be displayed if we typed ls-f? So this -f, capital F command, I'll just remind you, is the command to just display the like file type. So it'll just tell us, is it a folder? Is it a executable? It just gives that information. But we're displaying the contents of the ..backup. So you just need to also have a look at this diagram here to get a sense of what is going to be shown. And let me also just quickly paste the collaborative document link again, just in case somebody's not there. And okay, cool. Okay, this one was maybe a little bit harder because I can see a few less crosses. If you're not sure, just take a guess. Or if there's something that you think, I think this is wrong, but I'd really like to know why, you can also put a cross. Then I'll spend some time explaining why it's wrong.
Emmy, so on the diagram, the files with the date, is it the files or the folder?
So in the diagram, it's showing the folders. So like user is a folder, and then inside user is 2 folders, one called thing, one called backup. Okay. And then inside thing is backup. Yeah, so thank you. That's a good, I should have said that explicitly. Yeah, so this diagram is showing like the folder structure. Okay. So what folders are inside which folders. So everything is inside users, but inside the tree we have users and then thing backup, and then in this other backup. So this is probably not the most wisely named folder structure in the world.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because if this were me, I'd be like, whoa, what backup was this now? Okay, awesome. We have class 6 before 6. Okay, cool. I think everyone's probably given their vote. Okay, so let's go with the most voted for one. Okay, so number 4. So number 4 is indeed correct. So we're currently in users thing. Okay, so sorry, I'm actually sharing let me just share, so I can point. Okay, here we go. Okay, so you should be able to see I'm just pointing at the collaborative document now. So we were discussing number 4. Okay, so we're in users-thing. So we're over here in this thing folder. And then we're going to go double dot, which is 1 level up, and then into backup. So indeed, we will see these 3 folders. We'll see original, we'll see PNAS final, and we'll see PNAS sub. Okay. So the reason why number 1 is not correct is because there is indeed a folder called backup, which is inside users, which is the folder that is 1 higher than things. And then of course, we're not going to see the content of, we're not going to see these dated ones, these dated folders, because we're going up a level. We're not going down a level. Like if we removed a dot, so the only thing that we would need to change to see these 3 folders that are named like 2012, 2013, 2013 is to remove 1 dot from this command. So we would have ls-f dot/backup. So we would say, okay, in the current directory, please go to the backup folder. But instead we're saying, no, don't go in the current folder, go 1 folder higher and then look for a folder called backup. Cool. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Okay, let's do 1 more exercise and then we can move on. So this is also related to the same folder structure. So now we have a little bit more of a handle on it. So this should go a little bit smoother. Okay, so using the file system diagram above, so the same one, if PWD displays users/backup and -r tells ls to display things in reverse order, what commands will result in the following output? Okay, so is that going to be ls pwd, ls rf, or ls r-f users/backup? Oh, sorry for that banging. If you can't hear it too loud. Okay, and again, you can put like a plus next to the one you think is correct. So we want to display things in reverse order. So reverse from like least recent to most recent. Okay, awesome. Okay, so everyone who said 2 or 3 was correct. So 2 is referring by default to our current directory, which in this case is backup. So it's okay. We don't need to explicitly specify the folder. But 3 is also correct, because instead of saying, okay, list for me in reverse order everything that's in the current directory, we are saying, okay, please list for me everything that is in users backup. So those 2 are both correct. So the reason that the first one is not correct is because pwd is not a folder. It is itself a command. So I think actually, unless it just happens to be a folder called pwd in your current directory, I think this is going to always give an error. So let me quickly see actually. So if I let me just share my terminal. So if I say, you know, ls pwd, yeah, it says cannot access pwd, no such file or directory. So I don't have a folder called pwd. But pwd is itself also a command, which we've seen, which is print the working directory. Okay, awesome, great. And then let's just quickly recap. So on the terminology, so I just pasted an image in the document. So you can see this dollar is called the prompt, and we don't have to explicitly type that. It's just going to be something that we see in our terminal that's telling us, okay, I'm ready to receive a command. Then we have our command, which is in this case ls in this diagram, so the list command. And then we have all our options, which can be you know, a whole bunch of options or just a single option like shown here. And then we also have a space right at the end of the command for what we call arguments. So those are things, additional variables for the command. So if we leave that blank, normally there will be some default that's specified, like for example for ls, it's just the current working directory is the default, but we can also provide an argument, say the path to a specific folder that we're interested in. Okay, awesome. So let's see. Maybe we take a quick break now. I think that would be the more natural place, and then we can go on to the next section. But that's oh, I like it. 3 is for the paranoid. Yes, definitely. 3 is for the people who want to be absolutely sure that they're printing that. I love that. Yeah, that's definitely true. And you know, sometimes it actually pays to be paranoid, because a lot of the time you'll find when you're running into errors, it's generally because you misspelled something, or you thought that you were in a certain directory, but you actually weren't. So it can be a good thing to be paranoid. Okay, so let's take like just a minute. I'm sure someone must have a question or a comment or something they want to ask, or
Yes, I have.
Yes, please go ahead.
Could you please remind me what is Netilda used for?
What is?
Netilda.
The tilde, yes, the tilde. Okay, so you can see my command, right? Okay, so if the tilde is short for the home directory. So it's like a shorthand. So instead of me explicitly typing, in my case, I think it was C users/Amy. Instead of typing any of that, I can use a tilde. So for example, like my desktop is in my home directory, which I think was not the case for you. So you see, if I use the tilde, I'm saying, okay, desktop, home directory desktop. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so actually maybe you know what, let me actually put that in the collaborative document. So don't feel like worried if you feel like, oh my gosh, this is such a lot of information. How am I ever going to remember this? Really, you don't need to. Like, this information is all out there, and you'll really just get used to it the more you use it. So let's put a shortcut for home directory. I think the most useful thing is that when you see someone else type it, or if you Google something and you see this tilde, you'll probably be reminded, oh, hey, the tilde, that means home directory. And that can be very useful for just understanding what's going on. So this dot is shorthand for the current directory. And then double dot is for one folder up from. Okay, cool. And I think if anyone can think of something else that I've missed, a command that I've missed. And yeah, again, also, remembering all these options. Really don't even worry to remember them, because you can always access from the help. So if you want to display something in reverse order, it's as simple as thinking, okay, I want to display something in reverse order. I don't remember what the command is for that, or what the option is for that, rather. I can just say ls-help, and then I get, cool, I've got all my options here. Okay, reverse R, nice. And then I know, okay, list-R. So if you're feeling a little bit like it's information overload, please, yeah, you don't need to be stressed. It's really just to be aware of how to access the information and to be familiar with it when someone else uses it.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Can I also share my screen just to make sure?
Yeah, of course, sure.
Yeah. So I want to access that exercise data, but I tried to add it to the working directory, but
okay. So in this case, your exercise data is not in your home directory, which is what the computer is going to kind of understand from this tilde up here. So if you just print ls, if you just run ls command. Okay, cool. So we're inside the shell lesson data, and then you have the same situation that I have, where you have inside shell lesson data, you have another folder called shell lesson data. So we need to go inside that folder first. Okay, so we can say cd and then shell lesson data.
the sharing screen is covering the page.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's a very annoying thing of. So, okay, nice. And then if we say ls, we should see the exercise data now. Yeah, cool. Okay, so now if you cd, you should be able to.
CD and the exercise data immediately.
Yes. So maybe what we can also do here is it's useful to know that you could do this by explicitly saying the entire folder path. So the way that you would do that is you would say cd, and then you would essentially type everything here that appears in yellow on your screen. So now you're navigating through the whole tree. So you're going, okay, start at the home directory, go into OneDrive, go into desktop, go into shell, go into exercise data. So you can always, like, as we got the great comment in the chat, like, we can always be paranoid and say, okay, let's traverse the whole tree. But you can also just do it like this in steps. So when you say cd like this and you just say cd exercise data, the shell is looking in the current directory. It's looking around and saying, oh, cool, okay, there is a folder in the current directory called exercise data, so we can jump to that.
So by copying and pasting the exact location might be much easier than our process going pipeline.
Yes, exactly. That's actually a cool. Should we just demo that quickly? So copy and pasting on Windows in the Git thing is not always, it's not as simple as like Control-C, Control-V, unfortunately. I think you can set it up like that, but Control-C, and I'll mention this again later, is a shortcut actually to like cancel a program. So we can't just use Control-C. So if you do want to copy and paste things, normally what you can do is copy it, and then you just need to actually do the old school thing of right clicking and saying paste. So you can actually copy and paste this whole folder path.
And I use CD before?
Exactly, yeah, CD.
It's not. I
Yeah,
can't
you
use
see.
Control V.
Yeah, unfortunately not. So you can right click and say paste, and that should work. And there is a shortcut. I think for me, it's like Shift Insert. Yeah, for you as well. Okay. So, and you just need to backspace those. Do you see this? Like a weird, yeah, that stuff. Okay. And now also, sadly, it's not that simple. You can't highlight stuff and delete it. So you need to actually use your arrow keys. To shift, but there is a nice shortcut. You can do control, let me just see what it is. If you hold down your control key, you'll actually jump. If you hold down control, you'll jump to the beginning and the end. And through the words. So that can be a faster way to navigate. But yeah, I mean, these are all like really extra info. So does that work? Okay, it didn't work. Okay, so the reason for that is I think we're missing the C for the C drive. No. Okay, try setbacks. You know what you could do is try using the tilde. So the tilde would be you would replace this with the tilde, or you can try yeah. So the tilde would be short for C uses Z's 8. So we just get rid of yeah, that stuff. And then also that's, then we want tilde backslash OneDrive. And then we also have to delete the space. Yeah. So it's sensitive to spaces. If you have, yeah, cool. That worked. So there we go. Yeah. So it would be sensitive to spaces. So if you had a space there, I think it would also give an error because it would think, oh, okay, this is the end of what it's trying, this is the end of the command, but actually there's more things. Okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you. That was very, very useful, very useful question. I'm sure you helped other people. Okay, Control Shift V, Control Shift C. Okay, that's useful. Thank you. Okay, let's take another break. Let's come back at 11:10. And yeah, if there's anything, please, yeah, don't hesitate to put in the chat and then I'll answer it as soon as we come back. Okay, thanks everyone. See you in 6 minutes. So let me get my terminal up. Okay, and then we're going to do something a bit more like active in this part. So we're actually going to create some directories, create some files, which is going to be great. Okay, so I just wanted to demo something that can be quite useful. Is just the way to like clear the terminal. So you can see now I have like a bunch of information in the terminal, which I don't really care about anymore. So the way that you can get rid of, you can clear your terminal simply by typing clear. So if I type clear, it hasn't deleted anything from the history. So if I scroll up, I still see all my history of commands, but it just clears all the text from the window. So it gives me like a nice clean window. And from here, we're going to work from the exercise data writing folder. So let me navigate there from my home directory explicitly. So for me, it's desktop, and then shell data, shell lesson data, and then shell lesson data again, because I've got this nested thing. And then I'm going to go to exercise data. So from wherever you are now, you want to just navigate to the exercise data and then the writing folder. Okay, so now I am in the shell lesson data, in the exercise data folder, in the writing folder. And let me just get up the chat in case somebody needs some help. Chat, okay, nice. Okay, so if you're not there, please stop me. But we all should be in the exit. And then this quickly just type is do pwd. Okay, great, we're in the right place. So yeah, we just printed our current working directory and then ls to have a look what's in here. So inside the writing folder, we have two files, two .txt files, one called Little Woman and the other one called Haku. So let's make our own folder or our own subdirectory. I'm going to use those. Oh, sorry. Someone has a hand up. Yes. You can go ahead.
Yeah, so why at the beginning you didn't use just immediately writing folder? Why you start writing from the beginning?
Okay. Yes, that is a good question. Okay. The reason for that is you'll notice if you look up here, when I started this, I actually closed the terminal and started again. So I needed my current working directory at the time when I did the cd command was my home directory. So I wasn't, if I had been or still from our previous session inside the exercise data folder, I could have directly gone to writing. But I can simulate it. So if I just go cd, I'm going back to my home directory exactly like I was before. If I try to cd to writing or even to exercise data, it's not going to work because exercise data doesn't exist in my current working directory, which is my home directory. So that's why I had to explicitly state the full path of where I needed to go.
Good, clear. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so this is cool. Okay, so then that gives me a chance to demonstrate the clear. So I'm just going to clear this again. Okay, clear. I'm in writing. I'm going to do ls to print everything. Actually, how about we just print ls all, and then we can see again. Okay, so there's no hidden files in here. We've just got our one higher directory and our current directory. Okay, awesome. So let's make a directory. And you know, for yourself, you might want to convince yourself that this is working, but also just opening up your like graphical user interface, so your normal folder explorer, and just having a look and seeing what actually happens in there as you're typing in the terminal. So you can sort of see evidence for what we're about to do. Okay, so let's use the command to create a directory. So the command is mkdri, which is short for make directory. And now we give the argument. So I'm not going to give any options. I'm not going to put dash any options. I'm just going to give the argument, which is the name that we want to give this directory that we're about to create. So let's just call it thesis. And that's for no other reason than that's what we're calling it. So no, you can call it whatever you like. But I'm going to call it thesis. Okay, so you see nothing got printed in the terminal. So it seems like, did something actually happen? But if we do ls again, we'll see, there it is. There's thesis. There is thesis. And if you also had your folder explorer open, you would have also seen thesis like suddenly appear there. Okay, so that is how we create directories. And if we list what is inside thesis, so let's have a look what is inside this thesis, you can see it's empty. So nothing is printed because we just created it. So there's nothing actually in there just yet. Did someone have a question? Or was that just an accidental? Yes.
I'm struggling to go back. You see, I opened desktop shells and that exercise, then alkenes instead of exercise writing. So I'm struggling to go back.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, do you want to share your terminal and then we can just see where you are?
Yes.
If you can.
Can you see? Like here I have
not yet. It's just loading. Just let's give it a second.
Okay.
Has started sharing. Double click why. I just see a black screen at the moment. Is that what everyone else sees?
Yeah, like me, I can't see
Okay, can you maybe just stop sharing and just try sharing again?
Okay.
That helps. Yeah, this is actually a good exercise now, is if you feel not 100% comfortable with navigating the
Can you see
folders.
that?
Not yet. Ah, yes, yeah, cool. Yeah, I can see it,
Yeah.
and I can see myself, which is fine. Okay, awesome.
Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
here.
Ah, okay, cool. So you're in the alkenes folder. Okay,
Yeah,
no problem.
so I'm struggling to
So-
go back.
Yeah, so let's use the double dot to go back one directory higher to exercise data. So if you type cd, so we used to have to use the cd command for change directory,
Yeah.
and then space, and then double dot, or double dot backslash. It's both the same. Okay, so cd double dot, and then enter.
Oh,
Okay, awesome. So now we're in, you can see the yellow text has changed. So now we're in exercise data. So now we should be able to go to routing.
Okay.
So now we can cd to the routing folder. Yeah,
So it
you can
should
see
be
routing. Yeah, so
right
if
now.
you're in the terminal, if you type ls, so let's just use ls. Yeah, so you can see here, ls gave us the same list of folders as you saw in your file explorer, which is cool to see. Okay, so there's the routing folder. So if you say cd, yeah, so that's where we want to go. We want to go to routing. So let's do cd and then
The dot.
routing. Yeah, we can use dot. Yeah, we can also use dot. So dot backslash, or dot forward slash, sorry, I always say that wrong. And then routing. And then you can actually use the tab. Let's see if how the tab works. If you say tab, does it complete that for you?
No, it doesn't complete.
It doesn't, okay. And now?
19. No.
Okay, that should work. So if you say enter, it should run.
1T.
Ah, 1T. You see? Yeah, this is always the fun with the terminals. You have to spell, it doesn't do spell check, unfortunately. So try W and try tab now. Okay, no, it's okay. Don't worry. But try, if you just type, try tab.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you see? So this is super useful because it avoids spelling mistakes like I constantly make. Okay, great. So we're in right now. So if you do ls, let's see. Sorry.
Oh, yes, I stopped sharing.
Okay, no problem. That's fine. I'll share again.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll quickly repeat what I said about the make directory as well. So we're all together. Okay, so ls, ls. So I have the thesis folder, but so some people might not have it yet. But to create it, we use the command mkdir for make directory, space, and then the name of the folder that we want to create. So in this case, thesis. So I think I'm actually curious what will happen now if I do this. You see, so for me, it says cannot create directory file exists. So it won't allow me to do it because I already have something called thesis. But if you don't already have something called thesis, then it should, you should be able to run that. And then now you'll have a thesis folder. Message. Okay, great. Please stop me if you want me to repeat any of that. What was I going to do? Okay, yes, so here I am here now. So something useful with make directory is if you want to make several subdirectories in one go. So I'll just type the command and then I'll discuss what everything means. So you can type make directory and then let's say thesis, I don't know, apples, like carrots. You can type a sort of list separated by spaces of different directories that you want to make, and it will create all of those for you in one go. But you might want to create thesis and then immediately another subdirectory inside that. So in this example, we're going to create a folder called project, And the double dot indicates, so in one like higher directory, so that's going to be in the exercise data directory, we're going to create a folder called projects. But immediately inside of projects, I want to create another subfolder called data. And then I'm going to do the same, project/results. Okay. And I have to specify this option P, which is short for parent. So it instructs make directory. It gives it the make directory command, the instruction, please create parent directories if necessary. So in this full command here, project as a folder does not exist yet. So this -P option is going to say, okay, project doesn't exist. That's the parent directory because that's one directory higher than data. Please create that and then create a folder called data. And similarly for the results folder, do the same thing. Okay, so again, nothing is going to be printed, but we can check our result by using the ls command. And now we're going to use a super useful option, which is the recursive option, which is a capital R. And you'll see in a second what that does. So I'm going to recursively print the project folder. So the contents, I'm going to list the contents of the project folder. Okay, cool. So you see now what is printed is what is inside of project, but also what is inside of the subdirectories of project. So that's what the recursive command is doing. So I can actually show you maybe a slightly more illustrative example, because in this case, data and results, we've just created those, so they're empty. So there's not too much to see there. But if I recursively print the exercise data, so let's go one higher, which is going to take me to exercise data, but now I'm going to go another higher, and I'm going to just say exercise data. If I print that recursively, you see, okay, we get, first of all, the list of everything that's in exercise data. So that's this stuff here. But then we also get information about, okay, what is inside all the subdirectories of exercise data. So alkanes has got stuff in it, animal counts has got stuff in it, creatures has got all these DAT files. We've got our project subdirectory that we just created. We've got also the subdirectories of those things. So this is super, super useful. And I would argue it's actually one of the advantages of using the shell over the folder explorer, because I think we all know from experience, you know, if you're looking for something, but you can't remember where you put it, you're going to be like going back and forth between different subdirectories. Whereas here we can actually just print everything like in one go. So I don't recommend doing this for your home directory, because that's going to be a lot of text. That would be like printing the whole of your contents of your computer to the terminal. So it can also be too much information. Okay, so that's the -R option for recursive. But again, if you forget this, you can always use the help function to remind you what to do. So just quickly, a few words on like best practices for using make directory. So in general, we would say don't use spaces. I mean, although I think commonly a lot of us do use this spaces, it's advisable to rather use dashes instead of spaces. So like, for example, you see here with the shell lesson data, they could have used spaces, but instead they've elected to use dashes. And the reason for that is that if I typed here make thesis PhD, make directory is going to interpret that as please make two directories, one called thesis and one called PhD. But actually, maybe what I really want is a single directory with the name thesis space PhD. So if I wanted to use a space, you can enforce that by using quotation marks. So if I did this, it would create a directory for me with a space in the name. But a sort of best practice is just to avoid using spaces altogether. but yeah, it's as I say, it's more of a recommendation than a rule. And also, it's not advised to begin the name of a folder with a dash, because in the terminal, that might be interpreted as an option rather than, because remember we use a dash to indicate options. So if I want to create a folder called, prices, and I try to run this, it's going to say, this is not a known option. It doesn't understand that what I want is dash prices. It's going to try to look for the option called prices. Yeah, so just as a general rule, you want to kind of stick to using only letters, numbers, dashes. Also, underscore is commonly used. I mean, you've probably seen this used a lot, like I could say thesis underscore PhD. So yeah, I can't spell PhD. That's also an option instead of using a dash. But yeah, this is sort of just best practices to pay attention. And it seems like a small thing, but it can actually save you a lot of time, because I know, say you're writing an R script or a Python script, it can be a bit annoying to have to go back and put quotation marks around everything because you happen to have a space. It can just cause sort of annoying issues. Okay, so great. Let's actually make something. Let's make a file. So can I just check quickly? Was everyone able, or was there anyone who wants me to repeat how to make the thesis folder, or are we all good? Whoops, I'm typing LS in the chat instead of the command. Are we all good? Yes, please.
Can I add? So when we created this project data and result folder, so it doesn't show when I type Alice. So I was wondering why.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's an excellent question. Can you share your terminal? Do you mind? Yeah, nice. Are you on Linux? Awesome. So, okay, so you've got your project state and you're writing. Okay, so the reason that it doesn't show here ls is because ls is here because we haven't specified a folder. It's showing what's inside the current directory. But when we ran the previous command, the make directory -p, the one just above, we're creating the project folder inside the exercise data folder, which is one folder up from the writing folder. So if you yes, cool. So now if you do cd, yeah, perfect. And now you say ls, it should show now. Yeah, there it is, project. Nice. Okay, cool. You're like a CD pro. That's awesome. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Okay, awesome. But yeah, it's great. I can definitely see that you like got the CD under control. Okay. Where is my terminal? Where's my share screen? Okay. Got it. Okay, so now we're gonna do something cool and actually create a file. So let's all just make sure like that we navigate into the thesis folder. So we all want to be inside this empty folder. So if I type pwd, I'm in my home directory, I'm on the desktop, I'm inside the lesson data, I'm inside the exercise data, I'm inside writing, and then finally I'm in the thesis folder. Okay, so if we're there, we can now use, so I'm going to use Nano. I mean, there are a lot of options for this, but Nano is a nice text editor. So this is going to allow us to create a file and actually type some text in it. So I'm going to type nano command, and then I'm going to say draft. So the argument here is just the name of the file that we want to create. So I'm going to create I'm going to add the extension txt and I call it draft. And when I push enter, it's going to take me to this new screen. So this new screen is a place where we can actually add text. So you can see my cursor is all the way like right at the top here in this kind of black screen. And I'm just going to type some text. So I'm just going to type some random text here. It is not publish or perish any more. And then I'm going to use enter to go to the next line. It's share and drop. Oops. Okay, sorry, I used Control C there to cancel. So if you accidentally press something that you didn't want to press, you can always use Control C to sort of exit what you accidentally did. Okay, so now I have some text. So you can type this text or you can type some other text. Let's just, I don't know, get 2 lines of whatever text you choose. And then you can see at the bottom here, you have these helpful like text just telling you what commands you have access to. So this little hat G, for example, it's just telling you that the hat stands for control. So if I press Control G, if I hold down Control and then I push G, I'm going to jump to the page that's going to give me information about help. So it's actually going to give more. It even actually tells you here, if you see shortcuts are written as follows, Control key sequences are notated with a hat, with a like up arrow. Okay, so and to get out of this, I can see at the bottom here, there's this like to the power of X to close. So let's do that. So I'm gonna hold down Control and push X to get out of the help and to come back to the screen. So let's see, do we want to actually do anything else here? No, we've tapped this text now. Let me add something else here. Let's just say hello world. Okay, and to write it, I'm using the Control O. Okay, and then it actually prompts me here again, file name to write, draft.txt. So if we just type nano and we hadn't actually given a file name, this would just be blank and we just type in whichever file name we want to use. But because I already gave the name the name draft.txt, it's going to like automatically generate that draft.txt data. So I can just accept that by pushing enter. And you can see I get a little message here, wrote 3 lines. So it's written these 3 lines that I've typed into the folder, into the file called draft. Okay, and then now I can exit. So I can do Control X to get out of Nano. So there's lots of ways to do this. I mean, some people use Vim. I wonder if I actually have Vim. Let's see. Okay, there's Vim, which looks a bit different, but you can just see that they have these like these sort of black screen looks to them. So this is, if you really want to go like hacker mode, you can write all your code in Vim. I prefer Nano just because at least for my use case, I'm not using the built-in text editors all that much. So I prefer to just use something that's very intuitive and that I can just pick up, like I don't have to worry about remembering a bunch of commands. Vim tends to have slightly more complicated commands, which, yeah, it's really personal preference. So to get out of this, Vim is a bit more complicated. I actually have to use :Q to quit. And you could even actually just type this in a notepad. You know, there's no reason, but using Nano can be just really useful if you want to make like little small edits to your files. The built-in text editors. Okay, so we've created a file. So let's do ls. And there it is. There's our draft.txt. Okay, let's do a quick exercise. I'm sure you are very sick and tired of listening to me. Let's take a little exercise here. Okay, so let's look at how we can create a file in a different way. Okay, creating files in a different way. Okay, so I've pasted this exercise into the collaborative document. So we have seen how to create a file using the nano editor. Now try the following command. Okay, and then we're just gonna have a look. What did it do? And then, yeah, so let's see if you just, I'll give you a chance to just work through those steps yourself and see how it goes. And I'm also actually going to do it.
So if I entered the nano
Mhm.
and I want to exit now, but I tried writing the hat with the X, but I'm stuck.
Okay, so you want to, so the hat is shorthand for control. So if you hold down control and push X, are you able to exit then?
Yeah. See,
Awesome. Yeah, so there's a few, let me paste them actually into the collaborative document. There's a few sort of things that people use as shorthand for control if they want to indicate, hey, please use this. So just add the shorthand for oops, no, that's not this. Yeah, so sometimes people might explicitly say, you know, control plus X or control dash X, or sometimes just CTRL, and then sometimes just this hat thing. So that's all, I guess, computer scientists shorthand for control. Okay, then when anyone is ready, I would love if someone could volunteer to say what they think about touch and what that does and why you might want to use this instead of nano.
sorry, just to, so write Control X, but still. So from here, how to return?
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, yes, so now you see at the bottom here, you're in this file name to write. So if you push enter now, it's going to create that file.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so if you say ls, it should show up. Okay, inside. Okay, so you created it inside the writing folder, which is fine.
It's supposed to be inside thesis.
Yes, but that's, well, we'll see in a second actually how to move it. So don't worry. It's
Okay.
it's not a problem that it's there. Okay, then I'll give everyone a few more minutes to just try the exercise. maybe what I'll do quickly, I'll just put a note here on the exercise done, and then you can just put a plus when you're done, and then I know how it's going for everyone. Okay, so does anyone who is done want to share with us their thoughts on the exercise and what they think Torch does and why we'd want to use it?
So the touch actually just create an empty file whereby
Nice.
the nano can add some details and save it at the same time. So I think you can use touch if maybe you want to add information later on your analysis or creating.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. No, I think that's an excellent answer that captures it exactly. Is there anyone else who had a thought, maybe like maybe specifically for their use case, why they might think that they might want to create some empty files? Yeah, if no one wants to share, I can also just say like could be quite useful for just avoiding errors. Like I can think of a situation where, say, you're running a whole like bunch of analysis, and if you create your files beforehand with names that specifically pertain to like the outputs of specific I don't know, analysis that you did, you know, by doing this beforehand, you can kind of avoid errors later with not remembering where you put certain things. So you could like create a bunch of empty files later and then come back and like populate them with the exact thing. So yeah, I'm sure, you know, people who maybe do more experimental research would probably see this as quite useful. Okay, let me share my screen again. How are we doing for time? Okay, not too bad. Okay, so just some like a quick side note on like the naming convention. So you notice that you could specify yourself the extension. So I could have created a file like this my file here with touch. I could have called it like .ami. There's nothing stopping me from doing that. So the extension is actually really something that we just put for human readability or for like human understanding. So, you know, if I can say, you know, touch my image.png. Now I've created an empty file .png. That doesn't necessarily mean that I've created an image. It's just I've given the indication that, hey, this should be an image, even if it doesn't actually have any image data in it. So extensions you can actually, yeah, have fun with it. I mean, but normally the convention is to use something that has some human readability. So if your file is going to contain data, or it's going to be, say, a comma separated value file, you might want to call it, you know, data.csv, because you know beforehand, okay, the data that I'm going to put in here is going to be comma separated value data. And then of course, you know, there's going to be files from programs like, you know, Microsoft programs, like I can think of, say, Excel spreadsheets. So, you know, I think it's SLSX. I think that's the extension for an Excel spreadsheet. So I can create, in inverted commas, an Excel spreadsheet. But if I try to open this in Excel, it's probably not going to work, because normally an Excel file would have a bunch of additional data in it explaining to Excel how it should open it and what it should look like, and sort of metadata. So yeah, so that's just a word on extensions. So, you know, I can I can create all kinds of things. Oops. I created a file called ls. It's nice. Yeah, so you can sort of go nuts with this and do whatever you like, but the convention is to do something that is human readable, and that's going to give information to the user, or to someone that, you know, your collaborator, about what this actually is. Okay, so let's see now. Yes,
just to make sure I understand you well, so through this method, we are only creating one type of files, which are text, basic file. I can't create CSV, or I can't create any other types, right?
Well, what you're actually creating is an empty file, I believe. So let me just let's just look here. Yeah, so if I do the ls.-l, if you look at these files, they all 0 kilobytes. So if you know later that you are going to be using the file as CSV, you can use the CSV extension, and that will be understood as a CSV file if you try to open it in a program that you would usually use to open CSV files. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's clear.
Yeah. So like the PNG, you know, I could say, okay, you know, I have I don't know, a wildlife camera, and I'm going to be taking pictures every 15 minutes. So I could create a bunch of empty PNG files and then later populate them with data that would be readable by, you know, some gallery app or something that would know how to read PNG files. But at this point with touch, you're just creating like a completely empty file. It's just like a sort of placeholder for whatever you're gonna do later. Yeah. So yeah, I might have some special, you know, Amy file that I've written my own app to open my own Amy files, and then now I say, okay, everything that's .amy is the thing that I must open with my Amy app. Let's see. Okay, let me just clear the screen, and let's do ls. Okay, so now let's see how we actually can move things around. So let's just make sure we're inside the writing directory. So for me, I'm going to cd one file up, and just check pwd, just double check. Okay, I am indeed inside the writing folder. So that's where we want to be. And now I'm going to use the move command to move my draft file into basically move it. So let me rather type what I'm talking about, because it's much easier to explain. So I have let's just do an ls. Okay, so I want to move thesis draft dot, well, actually, let's quickly do an ls recursive just so we can see everything. Okay, so inside of the current directory, I have a subdirectory called thesis, and inside there I have these bunch of files that I created. So you won't have all of these, but you'll have at least draft your draft file. So we're going to say move the file draft, which is inside thesis. Okay, move it to a new file called thesis, also inside of the thesis folder, called quotes. Okay, and I push enter to run that. Now, if I do ls thesis to just have a look what's inside the thesis folder, you'll see now, instead of drafts, which I had here, I now have something called quotes. So what move has done is taken the information from the draft.txt file and it's moved it to the quotes.txt file. So in some sense, we've like renamed the file, but we've essentially renamed the file by moving the data to a different file. Okay, let's see. Let's see this. So we can also move things around in the sense of moving them to a different location as opposed to renaming them. So now let's move the quotes.txt file. Let's move it to the current directory. So quotes.txt is inside thesis, but I want to move it to my current directory, which is the writing folder. So I'm going to use // for current directory. Okay, and again, nothing gets printed. But if I type ls, and let's do ls recursive as well, so we can just see everything. Now you see, okay, quotes is no longer inside of thesis, but it's moved to the current directory. Here it is. So if you actually check inside your file explorer, you should also see this if you really want to make sure. So is anyone stuck with that? And we can actually again confirm that this quotes no longer exists inside thesis by saying ls thesis /quotes.txt. So I'm going to try to list the files thesis quotes.txt, and it's going to say cannot access, there's no such file directory. And the reason for that is because it's in the current directory. So if I do the same command, but now if I remove thesis, it will print the name quotes.txt because that indeed does exist inside the current directory. Okay, so let's do an exercise to see if we're good with moving stuff. So paste this in here. Okay. So exercise 7, moving files. Okay, so after running the following commands, Jamie realizes that she has put the sucrose.dat and the maltose.dat into the wrong folder. The files should have been placed in the raw folder, okay? So this is what she did. So she prints ls and she sees, okay, analyze raw. And then if she prints what's inside the analyzed subdirectory, she sees, okay, fructose, glucose, maltose, sucrose, they all inside analyzed. But actually, she'd rather have the sucrose and the maltose inside the raw one. So she's changed directory to analyze, and now we're going to fill in the blank to move those files to raw folder. So I think, yeah, if you want, what you can do is maybe just put your name and then, well, you don't even have to put your name actually. You can just put what you think the right thing should be. So maybe copy this command and just type in the blanks here. So you can just delete these blanks and then type what you think the correct command is to fix her problem.
Hi, Amy.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm struggling to move the files here. It says cannot no such file or directory. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Do you want to share your terminal and then we can see what's going on?
Uh,
No, don't. No worries. It's all part of the process.
can you see my terminal?
Not yet. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I can see it now. Okay.
See here on the last.
Yes, so we've got move thesis drop tst to thesis quotes.txt. Okay, cannot thesis drop no such file directory. Okay, the reason for this is because you're inside the thesis folder. So
Okay.
it's looking for a folder called thesis inside of thesis that has something in it called drafts. So
Okay.
So what you can do is you can just edit your command and just say move draft.txt quotes.txt. So then it's just gonna look in that location for something called drafts and then move that to quotes.
Oh, I don't know what it is now. So now it's gonna be MV.
Mm-hmm.
Then this is
Drafts.txt, I think.
then open brackets.
No. So then just a space and then the new name that you want to give the thing. So the new name will give us quotes.txt.
It can be any name.
Yeah, it can actually be any name. I mean, you could call it draft 2 if you like. Yeah, it can be any name. So the way that the mv, the move command is structured is it's like mv and then from to. So from this place to this place. So yeah, so we're going to move the information from the drafts file into the quotes file. So yeah, so you always have to specify when you're specifying a specific file or folder, you always either have to specify the full path. So that means the full path all the way from your home directory through all your subdirectories to that thing, which can be a bit tedious. I mean, if you do that, you'll be sure that you're always working with what you think you're working with, but it gets a bit verbose. Or you specify the name relative to where you currently are in the directory. So the reason that your command didn't work when you specified thesis is because you were already inside of the thesis folder. So if you had just been inside the writing folder, which is one folder up, then you would say, okay, inside the thesis folder, look for this text file. But since you were already inside the thesis folder, you just specify the draft file by itself without the thesis part. I really hope that yeah, if anything that I'm saying is not clear, I really don't I don't blame anyone. So please, if it's not clear, just ask me and I'll try to maybe draw a picture, or because I think that's like a super important and like useful thing to know. Okay, great. We have some options here. This looks really good. So let me just and also I didn't say this, but you know, I mentioned that the first thing is from, and then the second part is to, but the from, like I can see some people know this already. is that you can list multiple files. So if you want to move multiple files to a different location, you can specify all those files that you want to move. And then the last thing that you specify, that's the destination. That's where it's going to. So let's see. And let me just think for a second. So I think these all look really good. Except here, this 2. So how do can I highlight this 2? Whoops. I just want to put this 2 in bold. So this 2 here is not necessary. So we don't, the 2 is explicit. Yes, exactly. Thank you. And the from as well. So we can just, this would be perfect if we just remove the from and the 2. So we can say that this is like our note to self. It's from and then to this location. Okay, perfect. Let me also think if this path, pleasure, if this path is correct. So we've got 2 options here. We have analyzed raw, and then we also have, I thought I saw someone had a double dot raw. But they've changed it. Okay, but let's just think about it. So Jamie is inside of the analyzed folder. That's his or her current directory. And analyzed is so raw is not inside analyzed. Raw is at the same level as analyzed. So the person who had double dot raw and changed it was actually correct. So you can put that back. So this would be the let's just close off this dash thing here. So this would be, let me copy somebody's thing. So whoops. Okay, also actually Abdulaziz, you also have something interesting here, which I think is cool to point out. So you specified analyzed. Is there a space? Let me just see. Did you mean for there to be a space between analyzed and raw?
Yeah, I thought you need to point that they are 2 separate things. Yeah.
Okay, so this is interesting. So it feels like that might be the case, but with the way that the command works, it's not smart enough to know, okay, put this file in this folder and this file in this folder. So you can only specify multiple things to move, but you can only specify a single location. So you can only move to a single location at a time. So let's say I did this. So this would actually be, let me just double check that what I'm saying is, yeah. So this would be the correct command. So that should put you. And the reason for that is it's looking at these 2 folders and it's saying, okay, of these 2 files. So we're inside analyzed because we've CD'd to analyze. So inside analyzed is the 2 folders we want to move. So that's perfect. So we can find, the computer is able to find these folders. But then we want to move them to raw, and raw is in one higher directory because we're inside analyzed and raw on the same level. So from analyzed, we go 1 directory up and then we go to raw.
Yeah, it's clear. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, perfect. Let's
What
see.
what will happen if I run the command that I wrote previously?
I think it would just give you an error. Because the reason that it would give an error is because it wouldn't be able to find raw. Because raw is not in your current directory. So if there happened to be a folder called raw in your current directory, it would move all 3 of those things, or at least it would try to move all 3 of those things to raw. That's what would happen. Yeah. That's a nice question. Okay, let's see where we are. Are we due for a break? I think maybe, where are we? 12. Yeah, okay, we are due for another break. So we're a bit behind, but I think it's fine. I'm definitely getting through the most important things, I think. Okay, so let's take another quick break for 10 minutes. So let's come back at 20 past 12. I'll just edit the schedule in case anyone missed out. So let's come back at 20 past 12. Thanks, everyone. And yeah, if you have any questions, yeah, please don't hesitate to ask. It's super useful, I think, for everyone. So thanks. See you at 20 past. Thanks. No, sorry. Let's see how we actually copy files. So just to all get on the same page. Okay, I'm just going to clear my screen using the clear command. Okay, and I am currently in the writing folder, which is where I want to be. Yes, that is where I want to be. So I have moved my quotes.txt into my writing folder. If you remember in the previous part, we did that. So if I do ls recursive, you'll see I have a bunch of random things inside of thesis, which is fine. You probably won't have these. These are just things that I randomly created. But we had that draft.txt, which we renamed to quotes, and then we moved that to the writing folder. So what if we want to we want to make like a copy of this quotes file. So the way that we do that is with the cp command, which is short for copy. And we're going to use quotes. So quotes is in my current working directory, so I don't need to specify the relative path. And I'm going to copy that into the thesis folder. And I'm going to rename it to, I'm going to name this new copy as quotations. So it's just a slightly different name. So I'm going to call it quotations.txt. Sorry, let me just pull up the chat in case I'm missing anything. No, okay, cool. Okay, so cp quotes.txt, and then the destination for this copy is thesis quotations.txt. So enter to run. Again, it doesn't actually show us anything immediately, but if we do ls dash capital R for recursive, we can see now we have, okay, we still have our quotes file where it was, but we have this new file now called quotations, which is just going to be a copy of the quotes.txt file. And if we want to, so you'll notice if we try to copy, let's just try and say we try to, oh no, let's write copy thesis. So now we want to copy the whole thesis directory and everything that's in it. We want to copy that to like a new thing, say thesis, and then let me say underscore copy, and I run that, okay? It's gonna give me an error, and it's gonna say, look, R was not specified. So copy works by default for files, but if you want to copy a whole directory, you need to also specify the -R option, or the R option, which again stands for recursive in this situation. So it's going to recursively, it's going to look inside of thesis, it's going to loop through everything that's in thesis, and it's going to copy that to this new folder called thesis copy. So if I run that and I do ls-recursive again, just so I can see everything. Okay, so now I have this thesis and I have thesis copy. And you can see that the contents of thesis and thesis copy are identical. So everything that was in thesis was copied to thesis copy. And again, we could give this any name that we wanted. So we could have called this thesis backup or thesis new, or, you know, thesis with a date, or all sort of things that you would typically use. Okay. Okay, cool. So now we can do some exercises again, which I think is nice. It makes it interactive, and you can also see where you're running into issues. So let's do this exercise. So let me just again quickly just post I'm just going to post the link to the collaborative document in case anyone lost it. So we're on exercise 8 now. So we're going to do a couple exercises. So suppose you created a plain text file in your current directory to contain a list of the statistical tests you will need to do to analyze your data and named it statistics.txt. After creating and saving this file, you realize you misspelled the file name. Oh no, this happens to me almost every single day. You want to correct the mistake. Which of the following commands would you use to do this? Okay, so again, you can put an X next to the one you think is correct. So we just want to correct this spelling mistake in the word statistics. Stop sharing. Okay. Got 2 crosses. I'll just wait another minute, see if we can. Yeah, cool. We got a third input. Whoops. Okay, no problem. We just put the how many do we have now? I guess 4, I think. Yeah, so this was an interesting case in confirmation bias. So one person went for it, and then everyone wasn't sure. Okay, so in some sense, the first option is not wrong, but by copying the file, the old file with the wrong name still exists, which is not really what we want. So I would say option 2 is actually the more correct option. So by moving statistics that's spelled incorrectly to the statistics that's spelled correctly, it moves all the data from the incorrectly named file to the correctly named file. And that incorrectly named file will no longer exist, which I think is probably better than keeping this bad file hanging around, because we might forget that what was going on. And then the last 2 options are actually not going to do anything. Well, I mean, they will do something, but we won't see what they've done. So it's just going to move statistics to itself. So it's just going to move all the contents from the incorrectly spelled statistics file to the file of the same name, and the same as copy. It's just going to copy an incorrect file to another file. I actually wonder if one of these might even throw an error.
So just to confirm,
yes.
I thought option 3 and 4 missing /. So I thought there would be an error.
Yeah, no. So actually, no, there won't be an error. So I think, well, let's test that out. Let me share my screen. So specifying the / at the end is not strictly necessary. So I usually do it. Actually, just my habit is to do it. So let's just see. Let's see where we are. Okay, let me go into. Okay, let's use this quotes.txt. So let's just try it. So if I say copy quotes.txt and then I do a dot. Okay, so it actually gives an error because these are the same files. So it won't allow me to copy from somewhere into itself. So that's actually quite good. And let's see what move does. So see, if I do put a /, I think it's going to interpret that this is going to achieve the same thing as this. So again, it won't allow me to do it because they're the same file, which is actually quite good because you can imagine how this could lead to all kinds of errors if you're trying to overwrite a file that you're trying to read at the same time. You know, you're reading and writing at a file at the same time, which is definitely not gonna go well internally for the computer. So it actually won't allow you to do this. But yeah, that's a nice question about the backslash, about the forward slash. So the forward slash has to be there. If for example, I wanted to move quotes to the thesis copy file, then I might say dot backslash thesis copy. I could, like in that case, this would not work because the forward slash needs to separate current directory from the subdirectory. But if I just want to say current directory, I can explicitly state the forward slash or just like be lazy and not put it there. Yeah.
Amy, can you raise the end of the page that you are writing on? Because
Yes.
I can't see anything
Oh,
at the end.
sorry. Is that better?
Yeah, it's good. Or you can
Okay.
the exact page, you can raise it a little bit so we can
Oh, yes. Okay,
from
if I do,
the
let
bottom.
me try this. Does that make it better?
The problem when you are at the bottom, I can't see
Yes.
anything writing here.
Okay. Sorry. Thank you for pointing that out. I will try to be aware of that and just clear the screen from time to time.
Thank
Okay, great. Let me just jump back. Whoops. I need to find a way to not have so many things open. It's very tricky. Okay. Okay, great. Where are we? Okay, so and then we're gonna do, let's do one more quick exercise. And then we're gonna talk about deleting stuff. Okay, so what is the output of calling ls command in the sequence below? Okay, so I'll give you guys a chance to read that, and then you can put an X next to the thing that you think is going to be output. Okay, so this is actually a little bit of a tricky one, so think carefully. So we first, the user prints the current working directory. So they're currently working in Jamie, uses Jamie data. And then they listing the files that are in that current directory, and they can see there's a proteins file. And then they're doing a bunch of things, which we can discuss in a second. So you have to think a little bit carefully about exactly where we are and what's happening. So I can see no one's been brave enough to put across yet, so I'll give it a few more minutes. Here we have two votes. Okay, does anyone want to take a just take the opportunity to explain why they think that they specified, why they thought which one of these options was correct, what their thought process was?
I can go. So
Okay.
I wrote
you.
a diagram just to make it clear.
Oh,
So
nice. Is it,
yeah,
can you share it with us, or is it on a piece of paper?
yeah, on a piece of paper.
Okay, maybe
Yeah.
you can hold it up for us. Can I see it? Sorry, I didn't get a chance.
So
Awesome.
it's
Nice.
it's
A
blurred.
bit
I'm not sure.
blurry.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
no,
so
no
at the beginning,
problem.
I think that maybe I'm mistaken, but the start is data. Then
Mhm.
they created there is file called protein dot dat.
Yep.
Then created a parallel file inside data called re combined. Then they change protein data to inside re combined.
Yes,
Then they
nice. Yes.
copied re combined protein data, the file that was put previously in the and the re combined. They moved copied it and put it on an upper level protein saved dot data. So I think if ls will show just protein saved data, I guess.
Okay, your logic is on point, just the last step. So the ls is going to show what's in the current working directory.
Mm-hmm.
And our current work directory is inside data. So we're in user Jamie data. We didn't move out of that. So if we think for a second, we had protein data in data, okay, but we moved it, like you explained, to the recombined folder.
Mm-hmm.
So when we print ls, we're actually just going to see the recombined folder. So the correct answer is actually 2. But your logic was completely correct that this protein saved .dat is one folder higher. So it's going to be inside the Jamie folder, inside the user Jamie folder.
Mm.
But we're inside the data folder. So we're not going to see protein saved because we're in data.
Yeah. I missed this point.
Yeah, no, I thought it was number 1 because I was reading this as, okay, well, we want to copy data, to data. Like, why would
But
we do
if
that?
you're the easiest way here, if you're confused, is to go to the File Explorer and check again, or
yeah, or even better, use the command line and change to, say, the Jamie folder, and then print list recursively everything. And then you can see, okay, there's data, okay, recombined is in data, protein saved is just in Jamie, but not in data. And you would see, yeah. So generally speaking, the best way to do this is to actually use the list commands, to check where your stuff went. But yeah, no, very nice diagram. I love it. Thank you so much. Okay, does anyone have a question on that? Because this was quite a complicated train of reasoning. So is there anyone who wants to give like any input or ask another question? Just see. Okay, yes, we have thank you in the chat. Thank you very much. To Abdulaziz. Okay, so while I get organized, you can think about your questions. And I'm going to share my terminal again. Okay, nice. Okay, so let's just talk quickly now about deleting files. So if I ls, I'm just going to ls again, just so I can see what I've got here. So I've got all my text files, and I've got my copy of thesis, and I've got thesis. So I can, just to remove a file, so let's just do an ls recursive, and let's remove one of these nonsense files that I created earlier. So let's remove my file.amy, because that's a nonsense file. Okay, so the remove command is rm, and then you specify the thing that you want to remove. So I'm currently in the writing directory, so I have to just specify thesis because I want to go inside thesis, and inside thesis I want to delete the my file.amy. That's what I want to delete. Okay, and I'm going to push enter. Okay, and now if I do ls recursive again, you'll see it's vanished from this thesis file. So this is something to be aware of. Like the rm remove command is quite powerful. It's not going to send that item to the recycle bin either. It's gone forever. There is no way to get that nonsense myfile.amy back again. So what you can do, just to be a little bit cautious, is you can specify the -i option. So that's going to prompt me. So I here is short for interactive. So if I run that, sorry, it doesn't exist. Sorry. So let's do thesis copy, because there's still a copy of it in the thesis copy. If I specify the I command, the I option, it's going to actually ask me, look, hey, are you really sure that you want to delete this? And then I can decide, okay, yes, I do want to delete this. And yeah, so it just gives you one last chance to abort your delete. So just, yeah, be cautious with that remove command. And if you want to remove an entire directory, so if I just say, look, I'm done with my thesis backup, I can delete my thesis copy. If I say rm thesis copy, it's going to give an error. It's going to say, no, it's a directory. You can't remove it. But how I get around that is I can specify the -r for recursive. So it's going to loop through each of the files that is inside thesis copy, and it's going to delete those one by one. So what I would do here in this case is I would actually, just to be safe, I would specify r and I, so that it prompts me to say, look, are you absolutely sure you want to delete the copy? I can say, yes, I really do want to. Oh, now it's going to actually ask me this for each of the files. So do I want to delete the ls? Yes. Do I want to delete my file? Yes. Do I want to delete the image? Yes. 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 Okay. And then you see the final thing that it does is delete the empty directory. So now if I say ls r, you can see thesis copy no longer exists in my writing directory. Okay. So let's just I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit to wildcards. So this is quite a useful thing. So you might have actually seen this before. So wildcards are like placeholders for anything. So I can do this as an illustration. So let's just change directory to the XSL as alkaline thing. So I'm going to change directory. I'm going to go up one directory to exercise data, and then I'm going to go into this alkanes folder. So let's just see what's in there. So I've got a bunch of different files, some ending in txt. Okay, sorry, I actually didn't delete some. Sorry, you will not see. Let me just quickly correct that. Sorry, because I was just playing with this earlier. So let me just delete this. Okay. Yeah. So this is what you should see. Sorry. So let me clear the screen, and then yes. Sorry, you can go ahead. Siad, please.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So my question is for exercise 9,
Yes.
and
Sure.
it seems like when we use ls without dash capital R, we're looking at directories only. And if we specify dash R, then we return files.
Okay, that is not quite true. So if you don't specify R, the dash R option, it's going to list everything that's that is in that directory, including files and folders. But the dash R, which is short for recursive, is now going to say, okay, for all the folders that are found in the current directory, go and look what is inside of those folders. So let me just see if I can, let me go up one directory here to see what is in here. Okay, yeah, so you can see here. So I did a ls here for the exercise data. So it lists the directories, but also this numbers.txt file.
I see that.
Yeah, but if I said lst.r, then the first line or the second line is the same as the as what's printed out for ls. But then what is displayed below is what is in each subdirectory. So what's in alt panes, what's in animal counts, what's in creatures, what's in project. And what's interesting actually is if I say ls-a for all, you can see how this dot for the current dot / for the current directory is the first one that it's looked in. So it's almost like it's looked in all of these directories, okay, except for the directory one higher up, but it's looked in the dot, it's looked in alt panes, it's looked at animal counts, it's looked in creatures. It hasn't looked in numbers because numbers is not a directory. And then it's looked in projects, it's looked in writing, and it's looked in what's each of those. And then also, I think, does it do it further? Yeah, it even goes further. So it says, okay, in projects, there's something called a directory called data. Well, what's in data, what's in results, and so on.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, pleasure. I actually only discovered this command recently and it's like changed my life. So I'm glad that I can show you guys that because it can be super useful to be able to look deeper into a directory. Yeah, okay, so wildcards is what we're going to talk about. Okay, so I'm just going to change into this alkanes and let's just look at everything that is in here. Okay, so we've got these PDB files. So the wildcard can like matches with either a variable or an exact number of characters. So I can say ls list all the files in this directory that end in PDB, okay, which happens to be all of them. But I could say, okay, what about all the files that start with the letter P? So it's saying, I'm saying, okay, it must start with P, but the start is a wildcard and it's a placeholder for any possible set of characters. So P followed by any character, any number of characters, any characters from the keyboard, and it must end in .pdp. So if I run that, okay, so I've got pentane and propane. And then let's just check 2, 4. Okay, these happen to be, are they the same length? 2, 4, 5, 6, 2, 4, 5. Okay, so they're even different actual lengths of characters, so that's good. So it's matched those two files. So I could say, okay, give me all the things that start with I don't know, ME. And of course, it's only going to be methane. So that the other wildcard that's commonly used is the question mark. So that says any character but a single character. So if I just run ls question mark .pdp, it's actually not going to match with anything because there is no file here that has one character in its name. So let's see, what do we have? 2, 4. Let's see if there's anything with 5 characters. So let's do question mark. Okay, did that not work? Why did that not work? Maybe I need one more. Okay, cool. So the shortest file name I have here is 2, 4, 5. So another example like could be what are the all the thanes that I have. So like let's see. Okay, so this will only be ethane, but if I change this to a star, let's compare what that does. Okay, so that will actually give me methane and ethane, because methane would have been 2 characters followed by thane and .pdp, whereas ethane is just a single character, which is why it matches with the question mark and not with the star. So if anyone maybe has already been exposed to like regex, I don't know if anyone has heard of that already, but this is like a similar logic. So this can be helpful if you want to like loop through many files. So let's say you have a convention where all your files that contain a specific type of data are called like, you know, data Amy 1 and then data Amy 2, data Amy 3. You could list all of those files by saying like data Amy, you know, star.csv, and then it would list for you all the files that whose names have that structure with something replaced in the star. So that's actually okay. So we've still got a few more minutes. Let's do one more exercise, and then we can just do like a roundup. What would be a nice one? Let's do.
Amy, I'm not sure if
Yes.
you addressed the raised hand.
Oh,
From
did
Ziad.
I? Is that an old hand or is that a new hand?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Ziad
Ziad.
can explain whether it's from a previous question or he has a question currently.
Okay, I think maybe an old hand because I don't see it. Okay, cool. Okay, let's do one more thing and then we'll just do a roundup. And let's find something. Okay, let's do this one. Okay.
Sorry, it was an old hand.
No problem. Okay, so let's just do one last quick exercise. So run in the alkanes directory, which ls command will produce this output. So you can put your X next to which command you think is the one that's going to produce, well, is going to list ethane and methane as the output. Last little push at the end of the day. Well, half the day. Okay, cool. So we've got some feedback. Okay, so I should just also have mentioned that we want, we want to, oh, it's only printed ethane and methane. So a couple of these are going to print ethane and methane, but also some other stuff. So for example, if we look at the first command, what would have actually been printed would have been ethane, methane, octane, and pentane. So that matches this pattern as well. So octane and pentane we don't actually want. So we've got a bit too many. Then the next one, let's see. The next one will, I think, be a similar issue. It's also going to print octane and pentane because it also matches with this A. So we're also going to get this output here. 3 is the correct thing. Yes, let's check. THANE, but why is and okay, cool. So this octane and so 3 is the correct one because now we won't get octane and pentane because they don't have the H. They're missing the H. So it's going to exactly match with these 2 characters here. So we want to basically look for everything with a HA. So that's going to work. And then obviously the last one is only going to print ethane because and not methane because methane doesn't match with ETHANE. Yeah. So this is a bit like this is if you've never seen this before, it can be a bit much to wrap your head around. But maybe later this evening, if you have a bit of time, it might be a good idea to just experiment with this yourself and see how these things go. Because it's you get the most insight with actually experimenting it with yourself. So the correct one was actually 3.
So just to
yes,
to make sure I understand the question mark, the difference between it and the other sample is what?
Okay, so the difference is that let me just I lost Zoom. Okay, so the difference is the question mark is looking at matching a single character where the star could be matching any number of characters. So star.pdp is any file that ends in PDP of name of any length, whereas question mark.pdp will only list files that have one character, so like a.pdp or b.pdp, but not ethane.pdp.
Yeah. No, it's clear. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so we're actually almost out of time, but I just want to say a few things before tomorrow. So the most important thing tomorrow, we're going to be covering Git. So just do an introduction to using Git. So if everyone can create a GitHub account, that would be really great. I'm hoping we're going to get far enough through it to actually push to GitHub, but it's really worth having a GitHub account. So it's just github.com. I'm pretty sure that's the link. Oops. Just send this to everyone. Yeah. So if you could just go onto GitHub and sign up, would be great. And yes, and the last thing is, could you please, if you don't mind, just give some feedback. So in the collaborative document, if you scroll right to the end, there's a little feedback section with a form. It's just a Google form. It's very simple. It's just asking for like one thing that you think went well or one thing that you think could have gone better, and that is like super helpful. And yeah, don't be afraid to say something that you think could have gone better. Like if you felt I went too fast or I went too slow, please say how you felt, because then I can also adjust that for tomorrow. So yeah, so I'd really appreciate your feedback. And I see the Zoom. Tutukile, do you want to just mention about the Zoom link?
Yes, thank you, Amy, and thank you to the participants. You guys were awesome. I think I enjoyed the session even more. Yeah, so thank you so much for such an amazing session. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, participants. Yes, so we have a slight change. The Zoom link that we'll be using from tomorrow till the end of the workshop has changed, and I've sent the new one via email. If you have any issues signing in the morning, just drop me an email, then I can always assist you. But thank you very much for your participation. And again, thank you, Amy, and thank you, Dimakatso, for your willingness to help.
Thanks, Rita. Thank you. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's the end. We can end the session there. I'm happy to hang around just for another 10 or 15 minutes if there's anyone who has a burning question or got really stuck somewhere and just want me to help them out. I'm happy. So I'll be here for the next, let's say, till like 10+1. But otherwise, yeah, I hope everyone has a great day, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you so much. I have a
Yeah.
question related to creating the file. So we have two, the mkdir and the other one, which is touch, right?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, so the touch, there is no, it's empty file, but mkdir, there's something inside or is also
No,
empty?
so the difference between those two is one is making a directory, an empty folder, and the other is making an empty file. So the touch is making an empty file that you can put, let's say, bytes of data into, but the mkdir, make directory, is making a folder. So like a bit like, you know, how you used to, like in Windows, you know, you would right click and say, create folder.
Yeah,
You can think of it like that. It's like create new folder as opposed to create new file. It's the difference there.
The second question is here, maybe because it's confusing now. I need to take some time to rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there is file and thesis, and I want to move it from thesis, going one level up, and put it in writing.
Okay.
But I
Yes.
struggled. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's fine. Then let's do it together. Okay. So you've got your. So you want to move my file.text
Yes,
into
this one.
writing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I want
cool.
to change it.
Okay, cool.
From
So
it's an just to share. Yeah, and it's in thesis. I wanted to put it back on the main file. It's called writing. Yeah.
yes. Okay, perfect. Let's do it. Okay, so we've got two options now. Either we make our lives a little bit easier and navigate first to the maybe to the writing folder, because at the moment we're inside this alkanes folder.
So CD, then 2 steps back, right?
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Nice.
No.
Oh, what happened? That's weird. We just try it again. And if you leave, okay.
Space between CD
No,
and
no space, no space. No, sorry. You were no. There should be a space there. Sorry, sorry. I thought you meant at the end. Sorry, I misunderstood. Okay,
Yeah.
I have no idea what happened on that previous. Who knows? Yeah. Okay.
So
cool.
now
So we're in
I want
exercise state.
to go to CD writing. Right.
Awesome. Yeah. Perfect.
So ls writing. Now I have folder called thesis and writing. Now I want to take my file from thesis and put it on writing.
Yeah.
So
okay. Do we want to copy it or we just want to move it?
no, I want to move it.
Just want to move it. Okay. Awesome. Yeah.
So how to go to thesis? So I need to change the directory enter thesis.
So in this scenario, we can do that, but it's kind of going to be the same amount of work whether we stay here or go into thesis. So if we, so let's stay here, and then we can talk about what the command would be if you went into thesis. So, okay, so here we would say, so now we would say MV for move. Okay, and then the file we want to move is thesis / what is it called again?
My
Draft.
file.
Oh, my file, yes, my file.
Check. Yes, my file.
So you know what you can do here? Actually, cool. If you do tab, there we go. Nice. And if you didn't give enough information, like if let's say there were two files called like my something, maybe there was like my file and my picture. If you do double tab, it will show you what your choices were, which is quite useful. But yeah, okay, cool. So we want to move this file. Okay, so here we don't end with a backslash because it's just a file. Yeah. Okay. And then now we say where we move it to. Okay,
it's up
so
one level. Yeah, so I'm returning back, right? So double.
Okay, nice. Yeah, this will work. I'm sure this will work. Okay,
So
and let's do Alex. Something happened.
Yeah, so now, yeah, that's exactly what I want. Okay.
Nice, awesome. And you could have, instead of doing like double dot writing, you could have just put dot, because writing was the current directory. So by saying like you went one up, like one down. But that's fine. I mean, it did the correct thing. So if it works, it works. But yeah, you could have just said move it to the current directory, because writing is your current directory.
And the same case, if I want to copy it, I will do the same process. I need to.
Exactly. You would do the same process. You do the same process. And I think I don't use this that often. So I think if you said the exact same command just with CP, it would just maybe give the file the same name. I'm not actually 100% sure. Do we have something else that we can copy? Maybe let's copy yeah, let's think, because the only issue now is you don't have a file called myfile.txt in thesis anymore. So
but let's check.
no, we can just do that, yeah.
So if I want to check what's inside thesis, just should I write thesis?
Yep. Okay, nothing's in thesis. So we killed thesis.
So if I put touch, this will work.
I think it
text.
won't, because mine, do you want mine to be the name of the file?
Yeah, so text.
Okay. So then what we do, and you want that to be inside thesis, so you put thesis first. So it would be thesis / mine.txt. Yeah, and then you can, no space. No space between the, yeah, so that should work. Okay, let's see if it created it.
Then
Awesome. Yeah, there it is. Okay, cool. So let's try now. What happens if we try to copy it without specifying the name? So we're going to copy the thesis. Yes.
Just for confirmation, so when you are creating a file, you type touch first.
Yes, if you want to create just an empty file, we can use the touch command. Yes. But remember, we also did that example where we used nano. So you can also use something like nano or Vim, but then those are text editors. So it's going to kind of ask you like, hey, what do you want to put in this file? But if you don't want to put anything in the file, then the sort of fastest way to do that is to just do the touch. And then it just generates a blank file. Like, I'll be honest, I don't use this that much, but I can see situations where you might want to just create blank files, especially if you have like experimental data, maybe. Okay, yeah, I'm curious to see now what this is going to do.
so I just want to try copy inside thesis, the file name mine text, and I want it to be in writing.
Okay. Okay, so it doesn't work because remember we inside writing.
Mhm.
So there is no folder inside writing called writing. So perfect. Yeah. So I'm now curious to see what's here now. Ah, okay, nice. So it's smart enough to decide by itself that it just copies the thing to the new location but keeps the name the same. So you see, we didn't specify that the copy should also be called mine.text. It decided that itself. So we could have named it, mine-copy.txt. That would have also worked. But if by default it seems like it just uses the same name. Yeah. Okay, no. So the destination is the second command. So the first thing is like what you want to copy. So you would leave that the same.
So
And then the second part is like where do you want to copy it?
Which is the current dot.
Yes, the current directory. But let's say we wanted to give it a different name. So we want to call it like mine copy, .txt. .text, yeah. So now it should have created now. Yeah, you see, so it kind of copied it and gave it a different name as well.
That's clear.
Yeah, that's
now.
nice. Yeah, you told me something, so thank you.
Thank you so much. No, thank you so much. Lovely course. Thank you.
Pleasure.
See you tomorrow then. Thank you so much.
Yes, see you tomorrow. Yeah. Is there anyone else who needs some help or would like to make a comment or if not, then I think we can call it a day. I think it's been a lot of information for everyone. I don't know about you, but my head is like exploding a little bit.
Thanks again, Amy. I will go ahead and end the meeting.
Okay, thank you so much, Triculate. See everyone tomorrow. Thank you.
See you.
Bye. Bye.